Hey. Hey. Is this thing on?
I think we're live, boys.
Are we live? Is this live? Hey, Talkin Van Halen was talking. Hey, we're here. All right. Let's do it. Here we go. Where's my There we go. There it is. Right. Hey to everybody. This is Johnny Beane, and it is August 27th, 2021. It is 8:09 p.m. Eastern, 5:09 Pacific out here in sunny Santa Cruz, California. Welcome, everybody. This is Talkin Van Halen, the show where we talk Van Halen. If you like Van Halen, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up, hit that bell, and of course, Jay Hannon is here.
Hey, now I'm going to applaud myself.
You can't have enough applause for Jay.
Oh, thank you very much.
There's some more.
Thanks.
Hey, man. Jay, who do we have here?
We got Simon Hosford, who is a phenomenal. I mean, you know, there's a lot of dudes that do the Van Halen thing. And from the stuff I've listened to and watched and checked out, Simon, you are a killer player. Killer.
Thank you, Jay. I was actually just saying to Jay how much I was digging listening to his Gizmachi record as well. But yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be on the show, gentlemen. As I was telling you before, I've been tuning in for a while and really loving it. So thanks, pleasure.
Yeah,
awesome. And we're just gonna suck each other's whatevers tonight. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what Jay meant to say is there's a lot of guys that try to do the Van Halen thing. Because, dude, I was watching your videos of Eruption, and you did the entire Van Halen album live.
Yeah,
dude, you close your eyes, and that's the album. I mean, well, that's the guitar. I mean, if you weren't actually watching and heard that you were using a vibrato where you pull up where Eddie didn't, you know, and you actually see what you're doing where there's like slight things. Like I guarantee you, man, you could play just snippets of that, and people would say that's the album guitar because it sounded
the tone
identical,
the feel. Yeah, man, it's I was not that I'm not easily impressed, but I was very impressed to say the least.
Well, I don't really know what to say to that. I mean, obviously there's no bigger compliment that you guys could give me, really. So so I'm definitely humbled by that. But you know, our goal, and hopefully you could see it on the video as well, was really just to have fun. You know, we knew it would be a gig where, because it's one of those expo kind of things, you know, you don't really get much of a preparation and a sound check, and you know, we were the fourth band out of four that afternoon, and so you know, you just kind of get thrust up on stage, and so we sort of, you know, had a few shots of Jack, and then looked at each other and went, oh well, let's just have some fun, and you know, if it falls over somewhere, it falls over somewhere, and you know, luckily because I did the film editing, I could cut out the bits where it fell over.
So was it Jack or was it Ice-T?
No, that's right. No, we weren't doing Ice-T like the Clash, but yeah. No, it was real Jack, which was, you know, felt extra naughty because it was about 4 PM.
Oh, yeah.
But
wow.
No, look,
But
we were lucky. It went mostly pretty good, and obviously we were really lucky that the bits that we could keep were the songs, you know. So if there was any you know, if there's any dead air and stuff, it was pretty much just moments in between the songs, you know. But yeah, it was fun for sure.
And anybody, if you haven't heard that yet, in the description of this video, there'll be a link to the entire. There's a couple videos, right? There's the entire show of Van Halen 1, and then there's a Eruption like you took like the eruption part and made it its own video, right?
Yeah. All I did was just take the eruption part out on its own because, you know, I mean, I guess some people won't be bothered watching the whole 40-minute show, you know, but they might be curious about one of the tracks or something. So, yeah, so I just chopped a few bits out to make short videos, but it's essentially exactly what was in the long video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in the description of this video, there'll be on playback, there'll be links to that.
I'm assuming you have is one of your friends in here, Tim Henwood?
Oh yeah, Tim is.
So we know what your friends call you, Hossy, huh?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Hoss. All right.
There's too many Simons in the world, you know, so it just becomes Hoss. But okay. You know, obviously, if you want, feel free. But Tim Henwood is a legend Melbourne guitarist and great singer, and actually Tim was back when. Like way before, I think it was about 2017 or something, when I started getting the idea to and talking with the Melbourne Guitar Show about putting it together for the 40th anniversary. Tim was instrumental in, like, I just was really stuck to try and find a guy in Melbourne that could do David Lee Roth, you know, and even if it wasn't, you know, exactly David Lee Roth, but just someone who would get it in the ballpark.
Dave Roth. Dave Roth is close enough, right? You'd be fine with Dave Roth.
Dave Roth. And so we did find a Dave. So, of course, you know, that's Diamond Dave enough for us. But, yeah, we were lucky because we found Dave Bowers, who did a great job because essentially he was just being himself. He sort of does his own sort of cabaret act under the pseudonym Eugene Hamilton. So that's his sort of alter ego. And so what he does is they do basically like cabaret big band versions of, not big band exactly, but, you know, cabaret style versions of modern pop songs. And it's fantastic. And so he was totally perfect. He already had the flares and the big lapel shirts and everything, you know, and it turned out that he was a big fan of the Van Halen 1 record when he was growing up. So we kind of got lucky. But Tim, back to Tim Henwood. Tim was really helpful in, like, he just gave me all these guys' names and numbers that I didn't really know as options for singers, and so he was a big help when we were putting it together. But Tim's got his own band, Palace of the King. So if you want to check that out, and it's awesome. In fact, there you go. How about that? Palace of the King.
Got it
on the T-shirt. Yeah,
there they are.
Yep, got to fly the flag.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And before I know we got to get to the particulars, Johnny, and the intros and all that stuff, but I want to get into something as well in a little bit. When I was watching you on the Never a Skip show, I apologize for that. I know when I talk to somebody who's from Australia,
no, that sounds right.
A big idiot, but
that sounds right.
Your analysis and I guess really digging into eruption and how to go through it and learn it and all that stuff was pretty interesting. And I've never heard anybody kind of describe it the way you did. So definitely I want to get into that in a little bit because it was very interesting.
Sure.
Very
sure,
interesting.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's make this a real show.
Let's make this official.
Let's say hello to our executive producers, if I can find the card. There it is. Here on Johnny Beane TV, we have channel members. Simon is actually a channel member, believe it or not.
That's nice.
The executive producers are Charles Green, Stephen Franklin, Joe Christian, Michael B., Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Laz, Bent Tom, The Chad, James Gum, Jarhead Rock, Wayno, Michael Smith,
the captain,
Michael Smith, Andy Carson, John Moronic, Jim Ray Hawkins, Majestic PB, and J Cat. I gotta fix that, man. Mike,
I thought I was saying it wrong forever, and when I saw that, I was like, oh wait.
Yeah, I've had a busy week. Mike Neese, Arhabs, Lenny Lou, Ann Mary, False Flag, and Steve Carmichael. That is the top tier of channel membership here on Johnny Beane TV. If you'd like to become a channel member, click that thumbs. Wait, how does that go? Wait a minute.
What is it?
If you'd like to be, wait a minute. Turn. Oh, okay. This one. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we are. All right. If you'd like to become a channel member, click that join button right below the 24 thumbs ups.
That's
Right
it.
there. Only 24?
Come on,
We got
everybody.
63 watching.
Oh, I didn't even thumbs up it. And I'm talking smack, and I didn't even thumbs up it yet.
We got 65 watching total because we're also live on Facebook. But yeah, become a channel member. Explore the behind the scenes of Johnny Beane TV. I think you'll have a great time. And of course, any donations towards the channel, any super chats will change the color of my lights. So if you look behind me, there's what we call the guitar moire. Got all my, well, the guitars that she knows about anyway, are back there. Right? So anyway, any super chats will change the color of the lights. If you'd like to help participate in the show. Hey, there we go.
Yep,
there
Steve
we
Franklin.
go.
Lovely.
Stephen Franklin. Hey now. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. That helps keep the lights on. I mean, literally. And so yeah, thank you so much, Stephen Franklin. Let's see, and we're also live on Facebook, Johnny Beane TV Facebook page, right there. If you're on Facebook, you can watch us over there. If you'd like to help support over there, we got Facebook Stars, which is a digital gift that helps in the production of these shows. We're also live in the Van Halen 1974 to 2020 Facebook group, where I can't see how many members there are. There's a few.
Oh, thanks, Steven.
There's a few people over there. Let me see. It says 61,000. I think it's like 62, probably close to 63,000 members over there now. One of the bigger Van Halen groups on Facebook. So join us over there. We have a great time. And this is also a podcast. So you can actually ask Siri to play the Johnny Beane podcast over on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast. And then probably in a couple days, Amazon. I think we'll get the podcast over on Amazon as well.
Oh, you're hitting the big time now.
Yes. Finally. Finally. So there we go. I'm out of breath. It's your turn to talk.
Well,
Yeah, that's a big list.
I was kind of bummed when I fired up the YouTube chat tonight, Johnny, because there was no poll.
Oh,
come on, we need a Simon. You have a poll question we can ask, like a B or a C, like a question, like something, you know.
If you give me a minute, I'll definitely think of something.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me come back to that. I'll
pants
think
or no
about
pants? Is Simon wearing pants?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's a good one.
Well,
pants.
I'm not getting up. Let's say that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's been the running joke here for years, is that none of us are wearing pants.
None of us wear pants, yeah. Why not?
Yeah, that's why I turn my camera off if I get up to grab a guitar or something, you know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, actually. Yeah.
Is my volume's okay?
Yeah, it's good now. It's good now. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, so what do we have? 68. Wow, we got 70 watching. Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you dig this stuff. Let's see. Jay, who do we have here in the chat? There's a lot of
I was going to say we already introduced Simon. What are you doing? All right. I'll do a participants here. Let's see. We got 7 over 8. Nice of him to join us tonight. Christopher Live Soa. David Ennis, what's up, David? We got David Douglas, Fruitcake Tony. What's happening, Tony? My beautiful wife is in here, Jeannie says. Hal Face, Jeff T, John Bolware. What's up, John? And we got another John ZD351.
Oh, yeah.
John,
Hey, John.
Johnny Beane is here. Kevin Cachell, Kurt 5150. What's happening,
Woo!
Kurt?
Hey, Kurt.
Mark Effects, Mike Neese, Nightbot, Papa Blue, R2, R3 Locking Nut, Stephen Franklin, thank you very much. He bought 5 autographed copies of the Gizmachi CD.
Oh,
5.
cool.
I was like,
great.
what? Awesome. Stephen, thank you so much, man.
Stephen Franklin. Thank you for all your support around here, man. This is great.
Yep. Robbie Johnston, Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs, fellow headbanger.
Yeah.
And Tim Thomas. And I know we got people rolling in a little late. Come on, everybody. Get here on time, will you? Crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, we were on Oh no, we weren't.
No, we weren't.
No. The people who watch the show are just like us, late. You know.
As long as
everybody
we're all
else,
late
thank
on
you very
time,
much.
that's
Browns
fine.
fan is here as well, so awesome.
Hey man.
Keith Campbell, what's up, Keith?
Keith Campbell. Keith Campbell.
Hey, Keith.
Man.
Awesome.
Oh.
All right, now I'm out of breath. What now? What?
Oh my goodness.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Sorry, good night.
Simon, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for showing up,
Yeah.
man. This has been a great time. We've had a great time tonight.
So what time is it where you are right now, Simon?
It's almost 10:30 a.m. on Saturday morning.
All right, so let me ask you this: are you a morning person, or are you the type of guy who rolls out of bed whenever they want?
No, I'm pretty good early in the morning. I'll tend to get up around dawn or just after, usually.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's okay at the moment because, of course, we're just coming out of winter, so dawn is a little bit later. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, 6:30, 7 a.m., something like that. I usually wake up. I mean, even if I lie in bed for a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't matter if I try and sleep in and set the alarm for 10, I'll still wake up at 7. So usually once the brain gets thinking about something, I just get up,
God. Oh, so yeah, your brain is always going. Yeah, my brain never works, so I sleep until I have to wake up with the kids and stuff like that. So no,
his brain is like, Jay, wake up, wake up.
Yeah.
Huh?
How many kids you got, Jay?
I have 2. I have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. But again, if you like sleep,
then not so awesome.
Yeah, not so awesome.
Yeah.
What did I do?
And what about you in your natural environment? Do you like sleep? Are you a big sleeper? Or
oh, dude, if I could sleep, I'm the type of guy I'd rather sleep during the day. Once nighttime hits and I'm a little tired, then I get that second wind, and I don't like to go to bed until 3 or 4 in the morning, and that doesn't bode well for somebody with 2 kids. And Ellie just started school, so
and
6:30 in the morning, I'm up. I'm like,
yeah, I was going to say they'd be jumping on the bed just any time after 6, right? I imagine.
Yeah, get up.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't get it. So.
Yeah, well, they're in bed at probably 8 p.m. or something.
Yeah, Ellie's in bed now. Jeannie got her into bed, and then Killian, I'm sure, is probably almost asleep. So.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Yeah.
Where are you? Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's funny. So Johnny is literally right next to the ocean on one side, and I'm right next to the ocean on the other. And then how close are you to the ocean?
Well, I'm right across the ocean on the other side. So, yeah, I was saying to Johnny earlier that there's advantages and disadvantages with living in the future compared to you guys, but we get the bad news first, Well,
and the music comes out there first, though, too, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think it works that way. And it definitely didn't used to work that way in the 80s and 90s. Oh, man, we would get for people that were like, 19 hours in the future, we would get movies and stuff so much later than you guys. Like sometimes at the cinemas, we'd get an opening Hollywood movie 6 months after it's released in the States.
So it's almost when the sequel's ready to come out. That's when you guys get the...
Yeah, we get the first one when you guys are watching the sequel. But it was, so that's not like that now, but back in the day, I mean, it was just terrible. And the other thing that they used to do on TV all the time, they used to make a really, really big deal when they started showing whatever the new TV show was, like Game of Thrones or whatever, at the same time as it dropped in the US. So they'd always say, same time as the US. It's like, ooh, thanks, finally,
So what about, was it the same thing with when a new album would come out? Same thing? Was it like a couple of weeks, or was it months?
Actually, I think with music, it was more simultaneous. I don't know why that should be if it's not that way with movies and TV, but I guess just the licensing and how all of that world works, I would have no idea. But I think music used to drop pretty much at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, because I could imagine. I mean, now, even if an album didn't come out on the same day, you could probably go on YouTube literally within minutes, and somebody would have uploaded so you could actually listen to it. Whereas back in the 80s and 90s,
There was none of that,
wait, man. Unless you want to order something from overseas, but you're gonna end up paying an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I think just the cinema houses and TV were just forced into it because there was so much online stuff that sneaky people could find a way somehow of just streaming it online. And that's even before all the streaming channels we have now. I guess people had like sneaky websites and stuff that they could find the movie. So they're forced into it. But then they used to make out like they're doing you this huge favor, same time as the US, It's like, thanks for that. Anyway, but
same time as that guy in Idaho. Wow.
Yeah. No.
Well, Simon, real quick, I got a message from I don't know if he wants me to read this on here, but I'm doing it anyway. My buddy Cameron Brown from Scotland. He said he's complimenting your amp, your Sir amp behind him, because he's endorsed with Sir Guitars.
Oh, cool.
So he's like, oh, I see that amp. Was it a SL68?
Yeah, SL68. Yeah.
Okay. He said, I'm already a fan. So there you go. We're going total international here. We got Scotland messaging in.
Yeah.
We got Australia. We got Johnny. We got me.
That's all you need.
That's it, man.
East Coast, West Coast, Scotland, and Australia. That's it. Yeah. No, that's
all guitar players.
Yeah. Man, that Sir is badass. There was a hell of a plexi style, reissue. And on the Melbourne Guitar Show, because it was, we didn't have that much time in the lead up. We only had a handful of rehearsals, and I knew that we weren't going to probably get a good long sound check on the day. So I didn't want to take my old Marshall plexi. I ended up opting to use the Top Jimmy Kemper profiles and just do that. But then what I did was I came out of the Kemper and went into my Marshall power amp and vintage quad box for my on stage sound. So I had some air moving behind my legs.
And that tube saturation. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. But actually the sound on the YouTube video is just direct Kemper. But for this next show that was actually meant to be last night here in Melbourne at the Corner Hotel, which is one of Melbourne's best rock venues, sort of like a big, I don't know what you would call it, like a big rock pub sort of thing, like fits about 800 people. So whatever size, Canyon Club over there on the West Coast, that would be more than 800 people in there, wouldn't it? Do you know, Johnny?
Let me ask our other producer, John Biel. He says he doesn't know.
Okay. Have you heard of that place, Johnny? Have you heard of the venue that Simon's mentioned or talking about, or no?
Canyon Club.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, I've never been there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's not super big, but it's not small either.
It's not super big and not small. I ended up when I was in LA one time with some friends going to see Mr. Big there, and that was pretty cool. But so anyway, so playing at the Corner Hotel last night, but of course it got cancelled because Melbourne's just in constant lockdown at the moment. We're in what they call stage 4, so we're not even really meant to drive more than 5 kilometers away from our house for any reason other than a compassionate caregiving if somebody's sick or
we were in that state like when the whole thing first started. That's how it was for us.
It's but you guys, you're not. It's not that bad for you guys now, right? It's a bit more relaxed.
It depends on what state you're in. I'm in South Carolina, so it's basically do whatever you want to do. Where Johnny's in California.
Okay.
So
for me, I got to walk around wearing this.
Yeah. I got to get one of those. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not being. That's awesome. I'm definitely not being creative enough with my masks. That's fantastic.
Let's get like an S&M mask with a ball in your mouth, and walk around like
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. People will dodge you on the sidewalks for sure then, but
yeah, but you also get some weirdos following you home too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Hopeful weirdos. That's right.
Yeah, but seriously though, out here it's you have it changes. Like every other week it's different. Although I think where Jay is, it's been more relaxed like the entire time.
Oh yeah.
So obviously for you guys, it differs depending on the state. What state would be the worst at the moment right now? Do you know?
I would say here.
Probably.
California has been the worst the entire time, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's just because
this is all. Yeah, we can go into it, but that would be a different show.
I was just going to make it. Different. People was like, "What are they talking about?" I was just going to make a joke about Californians, but I love Californians. So I've spent a lot of time in LA over the years, and I've got lucky to have some dear friends that live over there. So yeah, it's great. But back to Cameron's question about the Sir. The only reason I brought up the Corner Hotel gig we were meant to do last night was because the rig that I'm putting together for this show, because it's our own show, where we can sound check for as many hours as we want in the afternoon. We can put it together our way. We'll have big production. We'll have a film crew doing all of that. So I'm going to do the opposite to what I did with the Kemper and go full old school and do the Eddie Van Halen wet, dry, wet, but using the Sir as kind of the tone amp, you know. Just basically having it dimed, and man, that thing dimed into a vintage quad just sounds so much like Eddie. You can even not play Eddie licks, you can play somebody else's licks, and it still sounds like Eddie. That thing is it's just crazy how much difference the amp makes. But so I'm looking forward to that. I've been mucking around with it, and to your question earlier, Jay, about asking about my take on Eruption, I've had a lot of students ask me about that too, and so I've decided what I'm going to do is put together maybe a little short series of YouTube things where I sort of break it down for anyone that's interested. And what I'll probably do for that is use the Sir. You know, I'll try and get the tone as close as I can.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, I can't say it enough, man. I mean, when I heard you on that video, if I didn't know any better, and if I wasn't watching and knew about certain, things, I would, dude, you're the closest I've seen out of anybody play.
Wow. Johnny Beane with the stamp of approval.
It's incredible.
Well, thank you, Johnny. I obviously don't really know what to say to that. It's an incredible compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Because they've tried to fool me for years. Because I get sent the tapes like all the time. Is this Van Halen? Is this Eddie? All the time, right?
Yep.
And I've never heard anybody closer than what I saw and heard you doing. Especially with, that first album. I mean, it's spot on, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's at some point what we're looking forward to doing. I mean, lockdown's made it too tricky, of course, but maybe when the world frees up a bit and stuff, we've had a lot of people asking for us to have an attempt at another record, and so I think that probably if we were going to attempt another record, it would just make sense to do it chronologically and maybe just have a crack at Van Halen 2 and see how that turns out. So it'll definitely be fun trying, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you mentioned doing the breakdown videos for Eruption. We're going to go from like a small percentage of guys people being able to play Eruption to everyone being able to play Eruption because of Simon. It's going to be so detailed where it's going to crack the code of ball players around the world, and all of a sudden it's going to be like big deal. You can, that type of thing. But can you play it twice as fast? That's going to be the next challenge. Can you play it at double speed?
Well, I heard that back in the 80s, Marty Friedman and Jason Becker used to play Eruption on one guitar and in their other hands. So they would both share one guitar, and in their spare hands they were doing yo-yos. Is that true? Have you guys heard that?
I don't know if I've heard it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I don't see how you could really play all of Eruption with just one hand each, like the coordination, because it's so free time and there's so many gaps. I imagine that'd be tricky, but I could imagine maybe they did the finger tapping part with two. I could see how that would be achievable because it gets into a rhythm, but I have no doubt they did some crazy stuff back then. Yeah, absolutely. Crazy kids.
Yeah, Jason, he's a great dude, man. I've not this year, but I usually go to his birthday parties
Mhm.
at his house. I've known Jason for like 12 years or something, and yeah, he's a very, very cool dude. I mean, he's just total, just you know, he's just everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had the impression that he was a super, super nice guy. To right back in the day, and I just think, with what he's been going through, what an inspiration. Like to the courage and strength of spirit must just be enormous, because it would be completely understandable to be depressed and despondent. And I'm sure a lot of people in his condition would be, but he just that constant will to keep creating and making music with his eyes. I just think that is it's just such an inspirational story, the whole thing. And I was involved for a time doing some me and a friend of mine here in Melbourne did a Racer X tribute show, and when we used to get together and jam, we would just pick some old Jason Becker stuff as well, and just try and play that stuff. And so we transcribed the intro to a song called Go Off, and the two of us played that together and did a thing on YouTube. Anyway, we got asked by, there's a guitar sort of learning program called Riff Accelerator that's run by another Australian. And so we got asked to do some stuff for Jason to raise money for him. And he was so sweet. He actually sent us a personal email back thanking us for it. And so it was an honor to be involved with that, because, obviously I've never met him, but everything I've ever heard about him from anyone is that he's just the super sweetest guy and always was,
Yeah.
Riff Accelerator, huh?
Riff Accelerator, it's called. It's a program that for people that say maybe don't have Pro Tools and Logic and are able to slow solos down themselves.
Oh, okay.
It takes like someone. I mean, you could do it maybe with Guitar Pro, the transcription program, and then just run it.
I have a Guitar Pro.
Okay, but obviously, if you're running it at different tempos, the transcription, it's the synthesized electric guitar playing it back, right? Whereas with Riff Accelerator, it's actually a guitarist playing the lick at different speeds, and you can basically go smoothly from as slow as 50 beats a minute all the way up to full speed along with the transcription, and sort of learn it that way. So yeah, it's a cool little program.
Oh, yeah, because I know with Guitar Pro, you're right. Like let's just say you want to learn a lick or something from somebody. When it's the synthesized guitar, the little nuances of the lick and the guitarist, I mean, you can try to get it as close as possible with the program.
Yeah.
But there's little things that it obviously can't do.
That's right.
A certain guitar player, if Paul Gilbert put a lick up in Guitar Pro, yeah, it would be the lick, but it wouldn't have those little tiny nuances that his playing and his style have in there.
Yeah,
so,
and don't you agree that they're the little things that the ear hooks onto, is the nuances, like pick attack. It's just those most subtle things are what clue you into how it's really being played, or are they picking really hard with the right hand?
And stuff. Yeah,
dynamics and stuff. And the Guitar Pro, obviously because it's very. I mean, I love Guitar Pro. I actually transcribed Eruption on Sibelius, which is not really built for electric guitar, of course. But I'm thinking what might be more useful when I do my breakdown is because I know a lot of people have Guitar Pro, is to have a transcription in Guitar Pro as well, because then they can slow it down themselves and kind of use that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it is a great tool. I don't know if Johnny has a Guitar Pro or not, but they had a sale or something a couple of years ago, and I got it for cheap as hell. And I was like, how can you not at that point? I had to do it. And it actually works,
It's fantastic. And, Sibelius is considered the big daddy of computer scoring. It'll do full orchestras and all of that stuff. But actually, for electric guitar, Guitar Pro just eats it. It's so much more flexible. It's so much more intuitive as well. Sibelius is kind of clunky to get around. Guitar Pro is pretty easy to put together. And obviously, like you're saying, it'll play it back to you with a distorted electric guitar sound, so you can even hear if it's kind of right as you're sort of transcribing it. But yeah, super cool. So yeah, I might do that as well.
Hell yeah.
Makes sense.
I got to write this down.
So Stephen Franklin says, he said, that's what I'm going to use to learn J stuff. J stuff is not that complicated. So, because Stephen Franklin, he messaged me today, like I said before, he bought 5 CDs.
Yeah.
He said he's been playing guitar since 1978, and I inspired him to buy his first 7-string, and I think he's going to buy one pretty soon. So, Stephen, considering that you bought 5 of my band's albums or CDs, if there's a couple riffs that or leads or solos or whatever that you kind of want to know, let me know, and I'll see if I can, send you a video or an Instagram message or something with a little breakdown of them. I wouldn't mind doing something like that,
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
Who was it that bought all those?
Stephen Franklin. He bought 5 Gizmachis, signed ones.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know if you saw this. Jeff T sent me a text.
That new Gizmachi album sucks. Is that what he said?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to show that part, but
yes, there it is. Look, see?
Woohoo!
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
He's also got the Scarlet back
there. There it is.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Very, very cool.
Awesome.
And thrash metal and fun riffs is saying could be. Are you talking about Guitar Pro thrash metal about the Slayer riffs? Because I don't know if there's any Slayer riffs on Guitar Pro that exist. There might be, but if not, that'd be something fun to do too. Man, I haven't listened to Slayer in a while, a long time.
Well, the solos, I mean, all you have to do is just hit any note on the fretboard. I hate saying that because I love Slayer.
Yeah, same.
I wouldn't change those solos for anything, but at the same time, you hear them and you're like, some of those notes, like just random. How fast can I play any note on the, high up on the fretboard?
Yeah. But it suits it because it sort of matches that completely frenetic chaos,
Yes.
And so I think it really suits it. But geez, man, those guys got some right-hand wrists, don't they? Those riffs are so fast, and they're pretty much all down picks, right?
Well, I mean, anything super fast is going to be alternate, but
sure. But I think their stuff is maybe. I mean, apart from the really, really crazy fast stuff, is still down picks, and my right wrist was never that fast. I'd get pretty tired halfway through it trying to play one of those songs.
Oh, so were you not a big Metallica fan?
A little bit, but not huge. No.
There you go. That's because that's how I kind of got my right hand going, was from Master Puppets, the Master Puppets album with like Disposable Heroes and Battery and stuff like that. And then obviously Justice, so like the intro to Blackened, like those first 2 riffs, it's virtually all down picking. And it's like, oh my God, when you first learn it, you're like, there's no way anybody could play this. And then obviously you same thing. You slow it down, you get the metronome or whatever. And the next thing you know, you get it up to speed, and then you get cramped up and you're like, Jesus.
Oh yeah. I'd get the cramps coming in early. And, but sometimes, of course, I'd have a guitar student that was really heavy into it, so they'd come to me to teach them how to play some of those riffs. And I'd think, man, I hope they don't ask me to play this for more than 60 seconds. I'll completely expose that I can't do it. But I was good up to about 60 seconds, so I'd stop and say, "See, you get the idea."
Yeah, now you go home and practice it.
Now you go home and practice that for the whole 4 minutes. Exactly. Yeah. I see Nerd Halen in the house there. Hey, Caleb.
Nerd Halen.
Hey, man.
Thank you for your kind words, brother. I feel exactly the same way about you. And if I was over there, I would love to see one of your shows.
Whoa, another endorsement. And obviously, Caleb is right up there with the Van Halen stuff as well. So
absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep. I've heard Caleb's fantastic. So hopefully one day I'll be across the pond over in your neck of the woods, and we'll be able to see one of those shows. Would be very cool.
Johnny, we should do a show one day or one night or whatever, and get Caleb, Simon, Cameron, Brown, get these guys that are just Van Halen, that we wish, or I wish that I could play Van Halen like these guys, and get them on and have them kind of, not go at it. I mean, like, just talk about all that stuff. Oh, can you play this one though? Not that stuff, but
yeah, go at it. Yeah, I like it.
My right hand is faster than yours.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, I had a present arrive in the mail yesterday, which was my my Mammoth album on vinyl.
Cool.
Which I thought would be a fun way to get the record, you know. So add it to the vinyl collection.
Do you have a record player?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because usually the answer is no, I don't. I just get.
No, and I think that's cool too, and especially like, you know, the kids are really getting into buying the vinyl now because it's something tactile that they can, you know. I guess they grew up in a world where music was just ones and zeros in the air, you know, and streaming and iTunes and stuff like that. But man, the amount of people, you know, like a student, or if I'm working with a session singer or something that's pretty young, that will come into the studio and see the records, and they're completely fascinated in a way that you can tell they're like, man, I wish that I could actually hold and look at my music as well, you know. Mm-hmm. I think the flexibility and the convenience of streaming is awesome, and obviously we all use it. But there's nothing like collecting the artwork as well, like that is like a you know, a big vinyl thing. I mean, I used to go take a day off school and go into the city to go and buy vinyl, and I would just study both sides of the cover and the liner notes and the lyrics on the train all the way home, you know. And I just think, by the time I got home, I spent the whole time imagining what the album sounded like, because, of course, I had no idea, because you didn't hear it on YouTube or something before you went to buy it in those days. The first time you heard it, maybe unless a friend already played it to you at their house, was when you got it home. So you'd get it home. By the time you were putting it on the turntable and putting the headphones on, you were already completely psychologically sort of warmed up and pumped, you know. And I just think that you know, it's sort of a shame that music, especially like whole albums and stuff, aren't listened to really that way anymore. People just pick and choose their songs, you know.
Well, and the anticipation as well of an album coming out, like you said, skipping school or whatever. Yeah. Like Johnny and I have talked about this a million times. Like, yeah, you know, the younger generation now. You know, I'm 44. Johnny's 29, so he's I don't know how old, Simon. I don't know how old you are, but
47.
Okay, so. We're kind of all from the same era of, you know, just getting so excited. It was like a holiday, skipping school. You know, usually back then you heard one single before the album came out.
Yeah.
And it was just an event. You know, you get home and you'd sit at the edge of your bed and you'd, like you said, you put the CD or the tape or the album, whatever you have on. And it was just a thing. You just stare at the artwork, you're reading the liner notes, and you close your door so nobody bugged you, that type of thing, you know?
Yep, 100%. It's exactly what it was for me as well. And I just think you're right. Anticipation is exactly the right word. And I think that, you know, it is a body of art that someone has spent, you know, whatever a period of time, but, you know, probably at least a month putting a whole album together. And sometimes some bands, of course, would take much longer than that, you know, but it's somebody's work of art, and it was designed to be listened to from start to finish, so that even the track order and the flow of songs kind of had this journey to it. And
back then there was two sides. So you had 2 opening tracks and 2 closing tracks.
Correct.
So there was even more, you know, more invested into the track listing, you know?
Absolutely. The track listing was a really, really important thing. And yeah, I just think that being psychologically warmed up and that anticipation made you absorb the music so much deeper than just, you know, just kind of cycling through things on Spotify and hitting play on something. You know, there's no anticipation to that. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, look, everything, there's no point trying to fight what is. The way the music scene is now, it was always going to be this way, and who knows where it's going to head. But, yeah, I just think it'd be like, you know, when people used to go and see visual art, like paintings and stuff, you had to actually go to an art gallery. So you'd have to put on maybe put on the dinner jacket, get together with your friends, get in a car. So there's the trip to the art gallery. So that's the anticipation for that, you know, whereas now, of course, people are just flicking through photos on Insta or whatever. And and there's some amazing photography and amazing artists using social media, but it still gets rid of that anticipation thing, I think, you know. But that's me being Grandpa Simpson right now, I guess. So
it's not like, like you said, it's not like the anticipation, obviously, and it just felt like an event when a new album of one of your favorite bands was coming out, and you'd watch like the specials on MTV that we all, talk about.
Yeah.
Or even if you get, like, for me myself, when I got into Van Halen, it was 1986, and so for me the first Van Halen record was 5150. But then when I dug back, and speaking of albums, the way I would buy the record, I didn't know any of the songs. It was always based on what the album cover looked like. So I have a memory of, Women, Children First. Oh, this one looks cool, or like whatever was available at the store at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
But
that's exactly the same for me, Johnny. I think that I actually forgot that. I mean, there was a record store in the center of Melbourne called Metal for Melbourne, and it used to have all the stuff that I like listening to, whereas if I went to a regular record store, they'd have this tiny little rock and hard rock and heavy metal section that was awful. So I'd go into Metal for Melbourne, and I used to absolutely pick what record I was going to take home based on the cover, and I'd look on the back, and if the band looked cool, I was like, oh yeah, they look like cool guys,
It really is all about looks.
Yeah, it's the image, man. Yep.
I mean,
but it definitely was on some level, because you couldn't hear the music first on YouTube or wherever else. It was that first impression of, and that's why the scene of painters and stuff that used to do album covers, and that was their gig, and they used to paint some incredible stuff. And then of course you've got all the great photographers that used to do the photography for it. That was a whole art form in itself that seems to be kind of, I don't know if it's dead, but it's definitely not the same.
Yeah.
But
none of this entertainment is not the same.
Well, I remember buying a Nitro record without having heard it.
You just bought it for the hairdos, man. That's why, right?
I looked at the front of that thing, and it was all smoke and pink and yellow, and they're all in cages, and they all looked sort of like hair was up to here, and I just thought, I don't know how this is going to sound, but that looks cool. I'm taking that. And and that was quite a shock putting that record on. And I think I did the same thing with my first Poison record. I bought that just because of the way it looked. It was so colorful and exuberant, So
wait, was it Look What the Cat Dragged In? You were like, which one of these chicks would I do first? I'm gonna bring this home and figure it out. Bring it right to the bathroom in the store.
It's funny.
They're dudes.
No, it's funny that you say that, because now looking back, it seems very strange to me that what seemed masculine was spandex and lipstick, but as a 13-year-old, it didn't even strike me as strange, and it probably should have, but it didn't. So I don't know what that says, but yeah.
Well, actually, when you turn on MTV, and that's what you see, it's like those are rock stars. Let me go to my mom's closet and see what I can put on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. I remember, and I thought I was so clever too. I remember skipping school one day to take the train to Metal for Melbourne to go and find a new record, and of course I'd packed my regular jeans and stuff inside my school bag because we wore a school uniform, And but I knew I didn't want to walk into Metal for Melbourne with a school uniform, so I wore my jeans underneath the school stuff. And anyway, I got home, went in, picked my record, got back home. But before I got back home, of course, I changed back into my school uniform so my parents wouldn't know that I'd skipped school, And I walk in the door, and my mum says to me, "So where have you been?" And I said, "Nowhere, just at school, just." Hung back with a few friends for a bit. And she was like, "Oh yeah, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I promise. And she was like, "You didn't go into the city?" And then my brain started thinking, how would she know that I went into the city? Like, I'm back in my school uniform. And I was like, no, I didn't go into the city at all. And she goes, "You didn't buy any records at Metal for Melbourne?" And I was like, "Is she clairvoyant? How did she know?" And I was standing there with the record, the vinyl, in a bag that said Metal for Melbourne. I forgot to hide the record.
That's not the one I wanted. Where is it, Johnny? Is it the There's that
Yeah,
one.
there it is.
And then
I was at the record shop yesterday. I took a trip into the city, went to Berkeley and went to Amoeba Music and Rasputin's, actual vinyl like stores. And
Yeah.
And yeah.
But
did you buy anything?
No.
Did you steal anything?
No. They actually didn't have anything I was looking for.
Oh.
Yeah.
But for people outside of this area who'd never been to like an Amoeba Music or whatever, when you come out to either LA or San Francisco or whatever, it's quite an experience.
Yep, for sure. You're in Johnny. Are you in Santa Cruz? Is that right?
Yeah. I'm a couple hours south of San Francisco.
Cool.
I remember, speaking of going home, like going to a record store to get a new band's record to come home. One of the worst experiences, and this is just stupid, but early on when I first started buying when I got a CD player at home, like a little one of those like bookshelf, with the detachable speakers or whatever. Once I transitioned from cassettes to CDs, my parents' car at the time only had a tape deck. So it was the worst experience. I mean, you're talking about taking a train home and just staring at it. It was the same type of thing, like getting the CD, getting in the car, and then having to drive, 15, 20 minutes home. I can't listen to it because there's a tape deck in the car. It's like, come on, Mom. Get a new car so I can listen to.
What year was this? Because when brand new
transition to CDs,
when brand new albums would come out, like Van Halen, for instance,
you'd buy both.
I would buy CD and cassette, and then I would listen to the cassette in the car on the way home, and then listen to the CD in the headphones when I got home.
I think the first album I ever did that with was Korn's "Life Is Peachy."
Right.
I skipped school for that. And because at the same time, like my parents' car, because I didn't have a car until, last year. No, I'm joking. But at the time, my parents' car only had a tape deck, like I said. And so I went and bought both. I bought the CD and the cassette,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many albums would you say that over time that you had the cassette, the vinyl, then the CD, and then you bought it on iTunes just because you couldn't be bothered putting the CD in anymore? Have you ever done that?
Johnny?
Yes.
Yeah, I've done that. There are some albums that, I just wanted on the iTunes on my phone so I could plug it in the car, but I already had it on cassette, and then I already had it on vinyl, and then I already had it on CD because that was the new quality of sound. And now I just want the new quality of convenience, So, but that's what you do with favorite bands and favorite records. And you know what? That's perfect. That's how it should be. I don't care. I don't mind buying it 4 times. Good, because you made a great record.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine with me. Hey, John ZD351. He's another Melbourne boy. Actually, he says the biggest problem with foolproof plans is underestimating the quality of the fools
involved. Yeah. There's always it's always one stupid thing that gets you caught.
Yep.
You figured everything else out, except you were holding the evidence. You walked in red-handed.
I checked every checkbox except for I shouldn't have been holding the purchase. Should have gone back in the school bag. Stupid. or as they say in Weird Science, we forgot to hook up the doll, So, yeah, that's right. Hey, and we got Jerry Pantazis in the house. If you guys don't know who Jerry is, he's the drummer in the Melbourne Guitar Show video.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Hey, Jerry.
Jerry, welcome, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
Oh, we got Jason McNamara in here too. He says, can I come say hi to Hosford? We're old mates from back home.
We certainly are. Hey, Jason. Thanks for dropping in.
Maybe in a few. We still got some stuff to get to here.
Send me a message, Jason.
Oh, and we've got another Jason there, which is Jason Vorher. He's dropped in. He's the bass player on the Melbourne Guitar Show video.
You're bringing more people in here than we usually know.
All the Jasons are showing up. Hey,
all the Jasons.
All the Jasons, yeah.
I'm a Jason, even though, you know, whatever. We got 82 watching on YouTube right now, which is cool.
Cool.
Very cool. I don't know how many on Facebook, Johnny.
1.
And it's you.
Yeah. Facebook is yeah. It's well, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, who do we have? Cheryl Reed, Keith Hampton. We'll run Facebook. Welcome, you guys.
So should I ask the lame question?
A lame question?
Yeah, well, the lame question. How did you get into Van Halen?
I don't think that's a lame question. I think that's the
Well,
same
it's just
question.
one that always gets asked of any, you know, especially guitar player who is you know, into Van Halen.
Yeah,
so.
but
look at
that's
these words right down here.
That's because it's an interesting question, I think. For me, I had a guitar teacher from about the age of 6 all the way up to 12, and we mostly did classical guitar stuff, but he had a lot of other guitar students where he did electric guitar stuff with them, and so they would bring him mixtapes of stuff as basically gifts, you know, like, oh, have you checked out this? I actually think it was their way of saying, can you teach me this, you know? Anyway, so he had a student. His name was Ron Longmore. He taught guitar for a long time here in Melbourne, and an amazing guitar teacher. So I was actually very, very lucky. But so a student had given him a mixtape of Van Halen, and it was a mix of all the first 6 David Lee Roth records, and then also 5150. So I guess it was probably 1986 then.
Yep.
And he listened to it, and you know, I think he liked it, but it wasn't really his kind of thing. I mean, he was more into older stuff and Fleetwood Mac and things like that. So he just passed it on to me, and he said, look, I think you're going to really dig this. And I'm sure you would know, the minute that I started playing that cassette, I was just like, what the hell is this stuff? I mean, it really did, especially to my little puny 12-year-old brain. I mean, I was lucky that I had already been playing classical guitar for about 6 years by then. So I was good enough to know how ridiculous, like, I had no idea how he was making those sounds come out of a guitar, but I just knew that it was exciting and it made my blood boil. And I think in that moment that really crystallized. It was like, you know, I think I already suspected that I'd like to keep playing guitar and see if I could kind of do it as a career or something. But that was really the moment where it was like everything crashed down and went, okay, this is what you want to do, you know?
So you got the first 7 Van Halen albums at once.
Yeah, but not, okay. So yes, but not all the records. So what it was like a 90-minute cassette. And
a couple tracks from each album.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever put it together for him had basically handpicked some tracks off each record and just filled up the cassette with stuff until there was no more room. And actually where I got lucky with that is because had I been a little bit older, I probably would have come across just the David Lee Roth era stuff. And then when Roth left and Sammy came in, it might have been more of a sort of a disjointed thing for me, because, you know, I guess for a lot of people that are a bit older, it really was like, wow, who are they possibly going to get to replace Roth? And then now you've got this brand new sound.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, because I was so young and there was some of those Sammy Hagar 5150 stuff interspersed amongst the other Roth stuff, I just thought, this stuff sounds a bit different, but it never really occurred to me, because I didn't know, because there was no internet, that it was a different singer. So by the time I got old enough to understand it, and about a year later, I think Live Without a Net got released. So obviously I got that on VHS and played that thing until I wore the tape out, basically, because I mean, as you guys know, I mean, there's just so much energy on that video. I mean, it's just jumping out of the screen. I mean, the guys are running around the stage and they look like they're having fun. And then the music is ridiculous. And that really made a big impact on me. But actually, equally, I think apart from the music and that they were having fun and running around, Eddie's vibe, you know, like his persona, his smile, that just constant smile that he used to do. I really think that almost got into my subconscious as a 13-year-old as much as the playing, you know. I think that that was why he sort of became my favorite guitar hero, because, I loved a lot of the other guys. I mean, I was listening to AC/DC and Angus Young, and I was listening to Yngwie Malmsteen and all that stuff. And it was, it all impressed me. It wasn't like I was a one-eyed, only Eddie Van Halen guy at all. But I just think it was Eddie's energy, his smile, and, and he wasn't wearing like leather pants and like, studs on his jacket and trying to be like super cool, like a lot of rock bands in the 80s.
He just was cool. He had the it factor without trying to have the it factor. He was just,
I totally agree. And I think that the proof of that is if that you can go on stage in a white singlet and pink parachute pants, really, right? Like
and a utility belt.
And a utility belt, but yeah, that's right, the Batman utility belt, but still come off as super, super cool, like a cat that people wanted to be and emulate. And that's what you were wearing in an era where everyone was either wearing spandex and big fluffy hair, or they were wearing like black leather and stuff like Motley Crue, So I think that was what endeared me to him, as probably as much as the playing. So it was, I guess, as Jack Nicholson says, it's the killer combo. It was the personality and the smile and that getting away with pink parachute pants, but mixed with the most incredible blues guitar playing, but from another planet, is sort of how I used to look at it. And I guess the combination of all those things was just what made me say, all right, I'll probably never get there, but that's what I want to do with my life,
Oh man, you got there, dude. I mean, you just need the pink pants now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I do believe that Kurt has a set of pink pants that are too small for him, which means that
send them on over.
That's right. So, but they might be the right size for me. So I'll have to get Kurt to send them to me, and we'll do an unboxing. I'll do a fitting show. See how they fit.
We got to do a de-pantsing from Kurt's house, and then he'll ship them to you. Then you do an unboxing and a pantsing. You got to try them on.
You know what? I think that's absolutely hilarious. We should totally do that.
It's got to happen, man. It's got to happen. Okay,
good.
Jason, Mcnamara, you there? Yo.
Hey now.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Can I hear you guys?
Can't hear us.
Something's going on here. What's going on? Oh, I know why. I got it now. I hear you. Hello.
Hey, Jason. How you doing, brother?
Hossy, mate. It's been a long time since I've seen you.
It's been a very long time. Are you still in Japan?
Yeah, I'm still in Tokyo. Yeah. This is my home, mate. Yep. Yeah. Wife, 2 kids. It's keeping me happy. Look,
beautiful.
I've known Johnny and Jay for ages, and I've been friends with these guys for quite a while. And I didn't even catch the start of the show. I was just talking to Cameron Brown, a very dear friend of mine, and of these guys too. Yep. And he's just like you, ridiculous guitar player. So I just want to fill you guys in a little bit on Simon Hosford's thing, because he's not the kind of guy to brag about himself. He's just he's kind of understated.
I spent 30 minutes doing that.
Apparently you couldn't hear us.
No, yeah.
Joe Christian, thank you, man.
So back, I was living in Melbourne for 8 years. I moved there in early 2004 and left late 2011. So just short of 8 years. And I got to know Simon because I was working at a store called Eastgate Music. Oh, you should address Joe Christian first, Johnny.
Oh yeah, I did. Thank you, Joe Christian. Thank you.
So I met Simon when I was working at Eastgate Music, and he just came in the store one day, and Marcello, the owner of the store, is a great guy.
Awesome
said to me, this dude here, Simon, you watch him play. Just sit back, just watch. And my jaw just dropped to the ground. And it was after that I discovered that Simon played with Virgil Donati. That album is still just like, holy shit, the guitar playing on that. And how old were you when you guys did that record?
I think I was 20 when we did that album. Yeah.
So in Australia, we had a few guitar players who were literally that ilk of insanity, like Jack Jones, otherwise known as Erwin Thomas, Simon, and a few other certain guys, James Ryan. Mm-hmm. These are all Melbourne cats I'm mentioning here, but they were just like those guys that were the level of Vi and Yngwie and Eddie and all the rest of them, but they were in Melbourne, so they weren't known worldwide, but Australia generally knew them. You know, and if any of you guys know, you've probably already mentioned John Stevens. Did you guys mention him yet at all?
No, we haven't talked about John. No.
So, like, John Stevens is the lead singer from a band called Noiseworks, who are like on an Australian level, I guess, in an American term. Jesus, Hossy, who's the best thing to try and compare Noiseworks to in an American thing? I'm trying to think now. Not even just stylistically, just as far as impact on the industry.
Yeah, they were pretty big in Australia. They were in the late 80s, early 90s. They were as big as any band, doing sort of, I guess you'd call it what, like pop rock, like sort of some of it sounds kind of dig in rock heavy, and some of it's more like pop, late 80s, like Simple Minds kind of stuff, you know?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, so Simple Minds with a bit more edge. And
Simple Minds with more edge, more guitars, yeah.
Stuart Fraser, their guitar player who passed away from cancer, unfortunately, a few years back, his nickname was Chet, as in Chet Atkins, and could play. But the point is, when John Stevens went and played solo, that guy up in the corner, up there, he's the guy that went and played lead guitar with John Stevens. And some of you probably know John Stevens because he was actually playing with the Dead Daisies for a while as well.
Well, John was the first singer of the Dead Daisies, and that was how I came to end up sitting in with them. And when I first met Richard Fortis, and I actually engineered and co-produced their first single with Slash, Lock and Load.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So Simon really is like a tour de force. So don't let him try and undersell himself, because he probably won't, because he's not that shy. But you know, it's always nice though when like your boasting is done by someone else. We all know that.
Yeah, everybody needs a hype man.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like right from the very first day that I met Simon, I knew straight away that he had that gift. And the other thing that struck me about Simon is that he's always just been a genuinely nice dude. And you don't always get that with somebody who's got such extreme talent. And I'm not blowing smoke. It's just stuff that I'd say to anybody, including him and what have you. And Simon's just always been a good, straight up dude. You know, he's never one of those guys that you rock up to a gig and he's like, I'm too busy, I'm too good for you. You know, you go to a show and you see him play, and whether it's a huge gig or a small club, he's always been like, hey man, how you doing? And so props to you, Mr. Hosford.
Well, if we keep giving him compliments like we're doing, the next show he plays, someone's going to walk up to him. He's like, talk to my manager if you want to get to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the last time.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, I just wanted to say it's great to see you chatting with these guys and getting your name out to other people who like didn't even know that they knew of who you were through things like working with Daisies on songs and stuff like that, man. It's really cool, and it's great to see you still doing your thing. And that Van Halen show that you did with the album from start to finish, even Cameron just said to me a couple of minutes ago, he's like, that is the closest I've probably ever heard that tone in my life. And I can't believe he did it with a Kemper and a Marshall Power Amp, dude. That's insane.
It's one thing for me and Johnny and Jason to say that, but for Cameron Brown to give that endorsement is it's pretty good.
Do you know who Cameron is, Simon?
I do a little bit, yeah. So thank you, Cameron. Coming from you, that is just the most monstrous compliment. And yeah, hopefully we can meet one day. You know, I feel the same way about you guys too. It'd be great when the world opens up again eventually. You know, we're doing some travel, and it'd be great to actually catch up personally. And you know, the same for you, Cameron. I would love that. So yeah, thank you, brother. And thank you, Jason, for dropping in. The check is definitely in the mail.
just answer me on Facebook from time to time and we'll be fine. I know how busy you are. It's all good. Man, to see you and Cameron playing together, that would be absolutely ridiculous.
Well, we gotta get some kind of show together, Johnny, with all these guitar playing crazy guys, man.
All the time zones.
Yeah. We'll have to do it at some strange time for us. We'll have to do it at like 4 a.m. our time.
Simon, it's always good to see you, mate. I hope you enjoy your chat with these boys. I've got to run because I've got to shower my kids and I've got to get out the house and do a few things today. I just want to really quickly drop in and not take over the whole show as usual, what I normally do.
Well, Jason, great seeing you, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. So
yeah, definitely. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason. It's good to see you too, brother. I'm glad you're well and life is good. And hopefully we'll catch up down the trap, around the trap sometime.
Well, if I can ever get back into the country with this bloody COVID situation without 14 days of quarantine in and out, Jesus. Anyway.
I know. Yeah, no, look, it's going to be pretty tricky for a long time, I think. I can't really see international travel really opening up for another year, I don't think. So
yeah, maybe even longer. I mean, the way Sydney's going, and it's just
Sydney's got really bad cases at the moment, so they're in trouble. Yeah, but
I'll be glad you're in Melbourne.
I'm definitely glad I'm in Melbourne. We're still pretty heavily locked down. When I was telling the boys before, we can't even drive 5Ks around from our house. So yeah, it's pretty restrictive. But that's the joys of having a home studio, though. So there you go. So it's not all bad.
Camberwell?
No, I'm in Templestowe these days.
Oh, nice. Nothing bad about that. You're close to Marcello then. He lives out kind of that direction as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, bigger place.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, guys. Stay
Thanks,
beautiful,
Jason.
everyone.
Great to see you, brother.
Likewise, mate. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you, man.
Jason McNamara, everybody.
Yeah,
what a guy. I haven't caught up with Jason face to face in a long time because obviously he's in Japan now. But yeah, he used to be in Melbourne, so we used to catch up for sure. Great guy.
Wow, so it's like 9:19 a.m. I think where he is, right?
Somewhere
around there. I think he's about 12 hours ahead of me. So
okay, well it's 20 past 11 in the morning here. I forget how far out Tokyo is from Melbourne. Not much. I think you're right. Yeah, a couple of hours maybe.
What time?
Crazy.
Oh, and we've got Bent Tom in the chat. You're a legend, brother. Thank you, Tom. Good to see you.
Yeah, Tom's a cool dude.
I actually have a funny feeling it might have been Tom that first even maybe mentioned, like, he saw me in a chat on one of your shows and sort of jumped in,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, great guy.
Johnny, we had a question, probably for all of us a few minutes ago. I just want to get back to it.
Yep.
Who asked? Somebody asked, and I apologize if I can't find it here. But somebody wanted to know. Taylor Petrie wants to know favorite Van Halen guitar tone. So I'm assuming album. So out of every Van Halen album, what tone of Eddie's is your favorite? Yeah, if you had to pick one.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, look, probably Fair Warning, I would say. But I have to say Van Halen 2 would be pretty close. I really like the Van Halen 2 sort of cops it sometimes. Is like maybe his sound was a bit less gainy and, the album kind of didn't have the coherency and the punch of Van Halen 1. But I don't know. I guess maybe again, because my first time I ever heard Van Halen at 12 years old, I had some songs from Van Halen 2. So I just kind of absorbed it all in this one big pot, so to speak. So, I think Van Halen 2 and Fair Warning. But yeah, if I had to pick one record, Fair Warning, I think. Yeah. But really, I mean, every album, as we know, sounds a little bit different, but I don't really hear them as like worse. I just hear them as different.
Yeah.
I do hear, I used to read interviews in guitar magazines and stuff that Ed was saying that around, the period of 1984 and stuff, that his old recording plex, he started to sound a little tired to his ears, And I think on 1984, it still sounds great, but it definitely sounds less sort of balls to the wall as some of the earlier records. It sounds, a bit, I don't know how to describe it, like a bit less gain, a bit thinner sounding maybe. But, it's hard to tell because they're completely different songs too. And you've got songs with keyboards in them now. And so everything's relative, I guess. But
that's weird to hear because I was about to say that 1984 is my favorite tone from Van Halen. Because in my opinion, it's the perfect blend of the rawness of previous, but it also started to bring in, like with the harmonizer slightly in there. You could tell it was, so in my opinion, it was kind of the perfect mix of raw and, you could still hear the guitar.
Yeah.
And not just, whatever. Because, 5150 is my favorite Van Halen album,
Mhm.
but it's not anywhere near my favorite Van Halen tone, because that's when it got super kind of started to get processed more and stuff, which I still love it. Like you said, it's not better or worse. It's just different, you know?
Yeah, but also, I mean, don't misunderstand me when I say that with the 1984 record, it sounded a bit less gainy and thinner, because really what I mean by that is just I feel like there's a difference in tone. And yes, he was starting to introduce the harmonizer in the studio and stuff like that. I actually love the guitar sound on every single record. I don't think any of them sound what I would call bad or even worse than the others. It's just that I was curious that Eddie himself was saying that in interviews around that time, is that, you know, he was always asked about his old Plexi, and he said that to him it was starting to sound a bit tired. But you're right. I mean, I love the sound on 1984, and and even if it's not as sort of saturated and gainy, but the thing is, Ed was a player that he really didn't need that much distortion, you know, like that his guitar always sounded alive to me. And I think the fact that he did it with really like just a dimed amp and a guitar, essentially, like everything, obviously we know he used modulation effects and stuff, but the core of his tone was so simple. And a lot of other guys, especially around that mid-'80s period, were using mountains of distortion, and they were using distortion pedals in front of distortion amps, you know. And Eddie just had, it was just all just tubes singing and transformers pinging, and you know, and I just think that there's something very organic and raw about the way that Eddie's tone was. And to me, when I was young, it always sort of felt, when I was just listening to the music in headphones, whether it was a trip in the car or in my bedroom or wherever it was, more than any other guitarist, his guitar sounded like it was alive, you know, like it was a living, breathing sort of creature, like the sounds he was getting out of it, even things like, you know, he'd go behind the guitar and pull the springs and stuff and get all these sounds. It sounded like, to me, I mean, no other guitarist really, I don't think, got as many different sounds by using every single piece of the guitar to make a sound. There are a lot of great guitarists, of course, but they were more playing like on the fretboard, whereas Eddie was using the whole thing. You know, chefs do that. They have a thing in fine dining restaurants sometimes called nose to tail, which I'm sure you would have heard of, which is where they use every single part of the animal somehow.
I gotta go. Oh, the animal. Okay, I was gonna say I gotta go there, but never mind. sounds like a strip club or something.
I can assure you it's the best restaurant. But so the idea of nose to tail chefing is where they use every single part of the animal somehow in the dishes. And I feel like Eddie was kind of the musical equivalent of that on guitar. He really used, you know, he was dragging the pick across string trees and pulling springs at the back and rubbing the back of the neck with his fingers. And
because he didn't have, when he was starting out, he didn't have effects, he didn't have a distortion pedal, so he had to try to figure out how to just make every sound he could just with his hands. And that's where that came from. And I think him having such a, I mean, his sound, it really is it's a real clean, overdriven sound. It's not super distorted.
It's not.
But that's where it, you know, his actual, his sound, his personality comes through with that setup, and you can really hear that. And I like what you had just said about how his guitar like came to life, or it had like a some sort of, I mean, that's exactly how I always thought of it. And I'm glad to hear you say that, because it really, I mean, it's truth.
And for somebody to go through so many different tones throughout the career of Van Halen, but it still sounded like the same guy playing guitar. I mean, that's the beauty. If you took any other guitar player on the planet and every album or every couple albums changed their sound, and especially when you go back to Van Halen 1 to a different kind of truth even, I mean, that's, if you gave any other guitar player those two sounds or those two tones, you'd be like, okay, well, that's him. Who's this? Like but Eddie, it still sounded like the same guy playing, even though it was drastically different sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the way that he heard the sound of the guitar coming out of his hands. You know, no matter what you gave him, he always sounded like Eddie. And of course, conversely, the opposite is true. Every time I've seen an interview with a guitarist that had an opportunity to play through Eddie's rig,
Nuno, yeah,
Nuno being one, right, said that he was so disappointed to find out that he sounded exactly like himself. You know, so it really is. It just so is in the.
I was waiting for it. There it is.
Yeah, it's really just in the. How you hear music in your head and how that comes out of your fingers, that's kind of like most of the sound, you know. It's a bit like, you know, if I've got to use a backline amp or somebody else's rig at a rehearsal, the first thing I do, I start twiddling the knobs, and it ends up probably sounding like how I always hear an amp, you know. And I'm sure we all do that subconsciously. It's so that we dial in our own sound into the gear, that the sound you hear in your head.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think Johnny would be able to, because I definitely wouldn't. But if I had, let's just say I had a gig or something, and let's just say my amp or my whatever crapped the bed, and I had to use another guitar player's rig, I'd freak out. I'd be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I think it's like a comfort thing, you know, and maybe I don't have the confidence where I'd be like, oh, I could play somebody else's stuff and I'd be fine. Whereas I think Johnny would be like, so, okay, I'll use his amp, you know?
Dude, I could play anybody's stuff and be fine, because I, like what Simon was saying, if I had to use, if it's like, oh, here's your amp, here's your effects, I would start twiddling the knobs to get, you know, oh, this sounds good. Okay, here, and then be done.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
What if that guitar player was like, dude, don't mess with my any of my settings. Don't touch the amp.
Okay, well that actually might be different, you know. Yeah. Actually, when Nuno was down in Melbourne quite a bunch of years ago,
Johnny's got a hotkey set for that one.
Yeah, I can see that. That's great.
That's like the the shredder's dream selfie right there. So
fantastic.
Gotta show it.
Yep, you have to. That's fantastic. But yeah, I got invited down to his rehearsal at the rehearsal studio they were at, and I was actually really hoping to have a quick chat to him because I hadn't met him before, and you know, I was a big fan of his when I was a teenager. You know, I used to carve his name into the school desks and stuff, and anyway, so I went down there, and they were, you know, taking a lunch break, and as it turned out, he just sort of handed me the guitar and said, "There you go, have a play," and he went off to lunch, and I was like, oh. Okay. Actually, I was more interested in talking to him, but it was interesting because for exactly the same reason, you know, playing through his rig that he had, and you know, obviously I would never have touched anything on it, but yeah, obviously I sounded nothing like Nuno through his rig. So yeah, so it's really true.
You played his guitar?
I can't remember if he handed me his guitar or just a guitar. Maybe it was a guitar, you know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they went out for lunch, and you know, he sort of said, "Look, there's my rig. Have a play if you want," sort of thing. But yeah, so but you know, exactly the same thing happened. Where it sounded like, you know, you expect to hit a chord and go, "Woo!" Sounds like Extreme, and I totally didn't at all. So yeah,
yeah. It's really it's the player.
Yep.
I mean, what I've always said on these shows is you have to have anybody that has a great amp. It's really all about the amp. If the amp is great, then it'll sound great. But it's really, it's in here.
In here, and here, the pick, the angle,
the person's,
all that stuff.
It's the way the person plays the guitar themselves. You know?
Yeah. So Johnny, that's really interesting to hear you say that, because I've always been a really big believer that in the chain of a guitar setup, the amp is having a good amp, an amp that sounds good just naturally, is by far the most important thing, because you know this, because when you have an amp that's crap, it doesn't matter what your pedal board is, and it doesn't matter what your guitar is. It
doesn't matter what your pickups are. Exactly. Yep. It's.
So
yep.
Jay, you think the same thing, right? It's
about yeah. Johnny and I have kind of you know, talked about this a couple of times, like, because we have we get questions and stuff like, you know, what should I do? Should I blah blah blah? And it's always like the same thing. If you have a great amp, you know, it's going to sound no matter what you're playing through to get to the amp,
Yeah.
it might not sound great, but it'll sound good. But if you have a great guitar, great pickups, great whatever, and you playing through a crappy amp, it's going to sound like crap.
A pig nose.
You can't polish a turd. There you go.
Great. Yeah.
You can't, but you can roll it in glitter.
Yes.
But well, I agree with both of you guys 100%. But I'm always surprised, especially on online forums and different gear shows and stuff, how few people give the amp the greatest weight in terms of. But you know what I've always said to any, especially guitar students, you know, they'll ask gear questions all the time. You know, if I've got $2,000, what should I do? Should I get a new guitar? Should I get a pedal board made up? I always say buy a better amp, because man, with a good amp
or keep taking lessons from me.
Yeah.
Or $2,000 worth of more lessons. Yeah, that's right. But
keep coming back.
Yeah. No, but it really is, and because I know you know, just over the years, and especially touring where you've got you're at the mercy of backline stuff. Man, my whole gig will just suck if the amp that I get given sounds bad, you know. So yeah, I think it's the most important thing. And then, like Jay, to your point, I think the second most important thing then is the player's hands. Yeah. Which is why getting back to Eddie, that's why that combination is just gold, because he had one of the greatest sounding old plexis and he had his hands. So really, that's why, I mean, as we know, over the years, he used all sorts of different guitars on recordings and live. And, you know, he toured with around Europe, didn't he? I believe with not even one of his main guitars. He had something made up. Is that right? So that in case it got lost or damaged or something, it was no big deal.
Depending on the tour.
Right. Yeah.
I think like the which tour? John Beale. Which tour was that? The Right Here, was it the Carnal Knowledge, or right Here, Right Now, maybe? Which really was a tour of Carnal Knowledge, which was a tour of Carnal Knowledge. That kept going for a little while. I don't think he played his main guitars. I think he played, because you notice he played other colors of the music man guitars.
Yeah. But truthfully, and I'm sure you guys would agree, I mean, I think you could go walk into a music store with Ed and just grab something off the wall and put it in his hands, and it'll still sound great, you know, because it's his hands, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, he could blow anybody away just playing an electric guitar acoustically.
Yeah.
Just playing anything.
Yep.
I mean, that's how he was. And
speaking of acoustically, I was always amazed, and I'm actually still amazed at the definition of sound and articulation he gets when he plays Spanish Fly on that acoustic guitar. That is, you know, if anyone's ever tried that is hard to get those notes to sound as definitive as that on nylon strings. It's really, really rough. And I used to try and do it on my old cheap Yamaha nylon string that I, you know, grew up learning on. And that was a hand killer, you know. So,
well, think about it, right? So Van Halen 1, he has Eruption that, you know, it's sounds that nobody has ever heard out of an electric guitar, out of an amp. And then Van Halen 2, Spanish Fly, where you got him playing something that nobody's ever heard on an acoustic. It's like, unreal, you know.
Really is unreal. But man, I mean, what a catalog of just incredible, innovative things he left us with, you know. And probably, I mean, it's hard to imagine someone redefining electric guitar that way for maybe ever. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like maybe the limits of electric guitar are kind of been reached.
Yeah.
Nah, we'll never see anybody like him ever again. And like I've said, in 1,000 years, you know, you look up the electric guitar in the dictionary, and it'll be a picture of Eddie. Really, it'll be Les Paul and Eddie is what it'll be.
Yeah, especially when you talk about innovation and game changing things. You know, like,
absolutely. Yep.
You know, I have a buddy of mine who actually does our Metal Wednesday show with me. His name on the show is Boner James, but his name is Brian. And he was never really the biggest, you know, Van Halen fan and stuff. And a few months ago, he was like, all right, if I'm going to listen to one Van Halen song, you know, because with Instagram and the internet nowadays, all these young shredders are playing stuff that like, whoa, wait a minute, holy crap. So I can understand how somebody who's listened to a lot of these modern guitarists who are just playing things that, you know, I could never even dream about playing, how they could hear Van Halen and be like, well, what's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
But you got to put it into perspective. I'm like, dude, go listen to I'm the One from Van Halen 1 and get it through your skull that was 1978.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? 1978.
When you put that into perspective, it's like, whoa, holy, no way. You know,
Your parents weren't even born yet.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the other thing, I am absolutely incredibly impressed in the level of playing, especially on YouTube and especially from young kids and teenagers. Like it is technique to a level that I won't even be able to do. It's so impressive, so accurate, so fast. And
where's the butt? Yeah, I'm waiting for the butt.
There is a butt.
Yeah.
And this is not
fans.
Head to tail.
But I guess if there's a but for me, it's that when I listen to Van Halen, and look, maybe it is a little bit a factor of that it was in 1978, and also when I first heard it, I was young, so I was impressionable. I was, you know, it's when you're most like a sponge when you get 12 years old or whatever. And but the music of Van Halen does something emotionally to me. It isn't just that Eddie is such an impressive guitarist. Everyone always talks about how innovative and impressive he is, but you know, it's the songwriting too. Yeah. You know, it isn't just a guy just shredding. It's their songs, you know. And I think that, you know, maybe if you took Eddie's playing out of all the songs and it was just, you know, 40 minutes of eruption for every album, well, maybe that would get kind of tiring too. But the way he could encase it in great songs that you remembered and liked, I think that's a big part of it. And I think that combination, that combination is where the magic is.
The songs is what kept it alive.
Yeah,
and will continue to be keeping Van Halen alive for forever. It's all about, like Eddie always said, it's all about the tunes. Yeah, because the song is the vehicle through which you're changing people's emotional state when they listen to it, you know. So
and how often, you could probably count on one finger how often Eddie overplayed. He played to the song.
He did.
You know?
Absolutely. And you know, I mean, I've to your point, Jay, I've had students say to me, guys that young enough that they haven't really heard that much Van Halen. They know of Van Halen, but not in the same way we do. And they're listening to this sort of new guard of players, you know, these sort of YouTube shredders. And man, they come to me even already with very impressive technique. And then I'll say, well, you know, they'll ask me, well, what did you grow up with? What do you listen to? And I'd say Van Halen. And they'd always sort of go, oh, it's not that impressive, right? It's just finger tapping. And I was like, well, it's like, then you're missing most of all the other ingredients. You know, your ears aren't hearing the songwriting and also the groove. Let's not forget Eddie's pocket rhythmically was insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I could listen to Eddie just playing rhythm and I'd be perfectly happy. I don't even care if he solos or not, you know?
Yeah.
I want to hear more of his piano playing. I'm a huge fan of his keyboard stuff. Huge fan of that stuff.
Do you think a lot of it might be also, I mean, you know, younger kids, and I think a lot of this goes with another topic that we kind of touched on with the head to tail and OnlyFans stuff. But I think once you get like kind of desensitized, like when you're like you said, the young and impressionable type of thing, when you're seeing these you know, YouTube or Instagram shredders that are just ripping their guitars away or ripping them apart and they're on fire when they're all this fast stuff. It's almost like desensitizing you to like the simpler, and I don't mean simpler by meaning not as complicated or whatever, but just like, I don't know. It's just speed over substance type of thing. Like, yeah, it's impressive to me that these guys can do that, but is it something that I'm going to continue to go back to?
Yeah.
You know, to fill that hole or whatever when I need to hear good music. You know, it's impressive. I can't do it. I'll probably never be able to do it.
I mean, I think people that are into that, I think it's they're impressed by it, but again, it's the common music fan. It's all about the music. It's about hearing three chords together that fit just right.
Yeah, and a memorable melody that gets stuck in your head.
Yeah,
makes you want to sing along to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, like I said before, I'm absolutely impressed by what I'm seeing online with this new guard of young guitar players, and I just do not have that kind of facility and speed. I mean, they're playing things that are technically so impressive.
Yeah.
And I do get off on that. There's a part of me that's just like, oh man, I'd love to try and work on that one lick for a month and see if I can get it anywhere near that, because it would be an interesting exercise, you know. But at the end of the day, I mean, really, I think what music is, why we all are drawn to it, is because it's all it is, if you break it down into physics, is it's sound waves that make a human feel something emotionally. And that's what, you know, Johnny, you're saying, that's what draws you back, is what does that song make you feel? What does that solo make you feel? I mean, Eddie could shred with the best of them and invented all these new techniques. I mean, that's the other thing when you get someone young saying, oh, Eddie Van Halen, that stuff's easy to play. It's like, yeah, but he invented it, you know, like all these things that you are using now, like tapping and using both hands on the fretboard. I mean, that was, you know, there was a couple of other guys dabbling with it, but he really kind of brought it to the fore, you know, and I think people
one pickup guitar.
Yeah,
the guitar, the knob, that locking tremolo that you rely on.
Yeah, exactly that locking tremolo that's on every single guitar that you own. You know, you got to remember Eddie was the guy. So it would be exactly the same as a 15-year-old turning his nose up at Hendrix. It's like, yeah, well, I'm sorry, that might kind of seem simple to you, but you wouldn't even be playing guitar the way you are if it weren't for Hendrix. You know, so and actually, you know what? I actually don't think Hendrix is that simple, because Hendrix might be kind of simpler to play technically, but it's very, very hard to make sound like Hendrix, you know, because again, it's that feel thing and it's that flow and it's that sort of looseness that Hendrix had. And of course, again, he invented that style of playing, you know, so.
I'm actually more impressed with Hendrix's. Why would you say it?
Hendrix's, sure.
His songwriting and just songs, like, you know, it's the same type of thing with Van Halen. Yeah, obviously the guitar playing is impressive.
Yep,
but it's the tunes, right? Nerd Halen. It's the tunes.
It is. He's exactly right, and you're 100% right with Hendrix, because the reality is, if Hendrix was exactly the same guitar player that we all know, but the song sucked, we would never go back and listen to him. You know.
That's right.
It really is about the framework of the song that you're putting the fast licks in. And, you know, Hendrix had it. Eddie had it. I think that any innovative musician that we keep listening to after decades, it had to be, the songs got to stand up, you know.
Speaking of standing up, no, this is actually going in a different direction. I'm a big, I get goosebumps when I listen to a lot of music. You know, for instance, and it's not even a guitar, you know, fueled song, Dreams, right, off of 5150, and it's the melody, the vocal melody, and obviously, you know, the guitar solo and or solos in that song. But that's not a song where you would pick, and it's keyboards, man. It's not a song you would pick to show another guitar player. It's just the song, and I get goosebumps from that type of stuff, man. It's like when it hits you in a certain way, that means more than, you know, all that stuff.
See so that's the one when somebody says, "Oh, Van Halen, that stuff's easy." That, you know, whatever. You play them the stuff that doesn't sound like what they think Van Halen is, and be like, "That's also him." That's another side of that.
Yeah. I think of something that comes to mind. You know, the solo Eddie does on "So This Is Love." I mean, that solo is one of the most gorgeous guitar solos, and it's not really got anything to do with shredding, but I defy anyone to have come up with those note choices. I mean, it almost to me sounds like jazz trumpet. You know, it sounds almost like a horn solo. You know, it's almost jazz.
It has that run.
Yeah,
it has a run that sounds like a dude.
It totally sounds like
what do you think, man? Yeah.
But that's, which is maybe not that much of an accident, given, of course, we know that his dad was a jazz musician, so subconsciously that stuff must have seeped in. But I listen to that. I've actually dabbled with the idea, just as a fun thing to do to throw up on YouTube, is actually get one of my trumpet player friends to actually, I'll find like Alex's drums and stuff and actually just get him to blow it as a horn solo, because I think it would work great. And I think it'd be fun,
Well, now you got to do it, because you just
Yeah, no, you said it. Now you got to do it.
All right, I'll do it.
And since you're in the future, it'll be done first.
But that's the thing too with the online. Look, I don't want it to be about bashing the online shredders, because really what they're doing is very amazing. But
of course.
But when it comes to a song like "So This Is Love" or something else, I just don't hear in their playing that they'd be able to come up with something as musical as that. I think it becomes about it's sort of like one dimension, But and I think, like it's not about bashing anything. It's just more about that we're saying what Eddie had was this multi-dimensional rainbow of colors of musicality,
Well, Peter, and I apologize if I get your last name wrong, but Vucinic?
Oh yeah, that's my uncle.
Okay, well, Simon's uncle. There you go. He says YouTube shredders is its own genre, provides instant gratification and enough satisfaction for the audience that it's drawn to it. Yeah, and that's a great point too. And I know, I don't know if Cameron's still in here, but if Cameron Brown's still in here, he tells me all the time, he's like, dude, if I post a video of me playing like acoustic, or if me playing something like very melodic or bluesy, he goes, it gets some kind of response. But he's like, if I play something, I'm just shredding. It's like, and he's like, yeah, it's cool. But he kind of prefers the more, heartfelt stuff as opposed to just blazing, getting your fretboard burning up, melting the strings. So
yeah.
It is what it is,
And also, we do live in an era of bite-sized pieces of entertainment,
Yes.
And so I think that the Insta and YouTube like shredders, it definitely provides that quick, instant gratification, like Peter's saying. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and again, like Simon mentioned, it's not like we're slamming all this stuff.
Not at all.
But you kind of brought it up earlier with music, how it's went from, or how it's gone from physical to digital, and it is what it is, and that's how music is now. So it's the same type of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's just how music is consumed these days, and obviously, in social media, everything's consumed in smaller and smaller increments. Like Twitter and Snapchat, all these different social media platforms are evidence of that. We want quick, bite-sized entertainment kind of grabs, and I think the shredding fits that perfectly, and it is super impressive, very, very impressive, and I love it for what it is,
Yeah, definitely, man. And I don't know, we could talk about Eddie Van Halen for 3 hours, but more than 3 hours, 3 days. What are we talking about? So I'd love to kind of dig in, and I mentioned it very early in the show. I'd love to kind of dig into your, I guess, breakdown, or how do you want to describe it with Eruption? How you kind of
look, I'd be happy to talk about that. Actually, though, speaking of standing up, Jay, when Johnny gets back, because I don't want to leave you on your own, I actually need to run to the little boys' room. So
I got to pee too. We can go together. We can leave Johnny by himself. You and I can go.
Johnny didn't tell us that's what he was doing, but that's what he's doing too. So when he gets back, if that's all right, I'll jump out for a second, and then when I come back on, I'll take you through my thought process. But essentially, there he is. Okay, now I've got to turn my camera off because I've got no pants on. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, next when Simon gets back, I'll go, and then we'll get in.
Dude,
break 9:50.
If we did these shows on OnlyFans, we wouldn't have to take breaks. We would just stand up and just do it on camera.
That's right.
Because they're paying for that.
We could put the cameras and the computers in the bathroom and just,
Yeah.
Switch into the toilet cam, Johnny. Hold on, I got to pee. Let me switch to the toilet cam. So.
Did you hear about that? They actually took that away for like a day. OnlyFans, they took it away, and then they had to bring it back.
I don't know what they were thinking. Like, what did they think was going to happen? That's the. I mean, anybody that hears
play this in reverse.
Wait.
Yeah, it would have been the whistle.
That would have been no. That one, I guess. But
It would have been, but also this. No, this one. Ah, you know what I'm trying to say. It would have been a billion of those.
what the hell? Oh yeah. Whenever anybody says something about OnlyFans, instantly you think of adult content. You know what I mean? So for them to kind of even entertain the idea of doing that is like let's just say all of a sudden Johnny was like, all right, everybody, from now on, we're going to kind of shift away from the Van Halen material. The majority of the audience that tunes in for Van Halen content would be like, what? You know, it would be stupid. It'd be like, you know, channel suicide for the most part, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, if you like Van Halen, this is the place you want to be. So make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.
damn, Simon must be taking a big one, huh?
Man,
I guess we're going to dig into the deconstruction or the would that be a good word of eruption? How Simon kind of broke that down in a pretty interesting way. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. While Simon's not here, let me just say, you know, I really like, you know, I mean the stuff that he's saying. I mean, it makes total sense to me, a lot of this, because I've felt the same way for a lot of years.
Mhm.
And you know, and I just can't get over just how incredible that video is.
Yeah.
Of him playing, because people, they've tried tripping me for years, you know. Is this real? Is this really them? If somebody would have sent me a clip of that, audio only, you know, without the, you know, the certain vibration, there's certain places where he stops.
Of course, yeah,
certain
things are hard to get.
Not it.
Yeah. Yep.
But that could have fooled me, and that's never happened. I've never heard anybody play the guitar, and Simon is so good looking too, man.
Oh, dude.
Well, I just want to put some more makeup on, you know.
That's why I have to go to the bathroom.
Well, off you go then.
It's only like 2 seconds.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So yeah, we all got to take a turn,
dude. Yeah. If you're ever here on one of our marathon shows, you know, we do 9 hours sometimes. Our New Year's Eve shows, dude.
Really, 9 hours?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do New Year's Eve shows. We're live for every time zone.
Oh wow, that would be classic. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Of course. do you do a show on New Year's Eve all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but we only do the East Coast, Central, you know, whatever the US is.
Yeah.
But you know, we might this year we might have to do where you are.
Yeah.
What would that? Sure. How long would that show be, man?
Oh, that would be pretty. That would be pretty long, because I think I'm about 17 hours ahead of you or something. So I don't think that's going to be manageable. But
so we would do your time zone, and then we'd just be sitting there for 16 hours, and then Happy New Year, where Jay is.
Oh, that's funny.
A lot of key breaks in that episode.
Well, you know, we got Cameron in Scotland, so we could find someone in pretty much every 1 hour time zone and just gradually go through them all and have people coming in and out. It'd be pretty funny.
Yeah,
that would be good. Yeah, those shows are fun, man. The Halloween show that we did this past year was a lot of fun.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll do another one of those this year. But all these shows, in my opinion, are a good time. And I gotta say, I was just thinking of something while I was peeing. You know, that this show is a perfect example of, you know, anybody could get on and talk about things that they like and that they're passionate about and whatever. But this is the perfect example of, you know, when we're talking about this stuff with Eddie and Van Halen in general, the excitement and the passion that I just mentioned, you could see it on all three of our faces. Like when Simon's describing something, when Johnny's describing something, like I feel it. I could see it on both of your faces. Like that's how special and how influential and all that stuff that Van Halen is. It's like we all kind of feel the same way about it. We've all been listening to Van Halen for the majority of as long as we can remember, but it still hits us almost that same way of like, just, you know, it's awesome. It really is. And to meet obviously people and to have the great community that we have is just, it's a very, very cool thing, you know?
Yeah. The community that you guys have built is such a beautiful thing. It's really
not me, Johnny over there. That's the mastermind behind the whole operation.
Yeah. Well, look, it is great, Johnny, because, you know, and especially since Ed has passed, you know, the world's been in a pretty strange place with COVID and a lot of places locked down. I mean, here in Melbourne, when Ed passed, we were in the same sort of lockdown that we're in now. So we couldn't even get together to catch up for a beer and play some records. Like we couldn't see anyone. So it was very surreal that you know, that very strong emotional reaction to realizing that Ed is gone. And then not being able to get together with anybody, you know, just being stuck in your house. It was really very strange. But I think what your show does is it brings this international community together. It's even better than being able to get together with your friends and having a beer. You know, you've got people from all over the world, like me talking to you guys, and it's a really beautiful thing. It's very necessary, you know, because what Jay was saying about how it is almost sort of strange and surreal, how that even after all these decades, and you know, and we're all older now, but talking about Ed and his music and his contribution to guitar is. We speak about it with the same passion as if we were 16 and just heard it, you know? And so having a forum where everyone can say their piece and from all different countries in the world, I just think it's wonderful. And it's one of the really great things about modern technology and social media and the internet. You can, you know, we can say that life has changed in ways that maybe isn't always better. Like we were talking about how you don't go down to the record store anymore to buy a record, but you couldn't do this either. Now you can do this. So maybe it balances itself out, you know?
Well,
yeah.
I don't have many friends who are huge Van Halen fans. My older brother who got me into Van Halen, but even that, like we've talked about that stuff so much that it's like you know, but that's literally it. Like none of my close friends are really huge Van Halen fans. So this is cool for me. I get to talk to people who kind of feel the same way I do, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any friends. So Jay is all I have.
Oh, God.
And now Simon.
That's right. Now me. That's good. So you got two friends now.
Yes.
Hey, wait a minute. I thought it was just me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of, you know, when Edward, you know, we can talk about this for a second. You know, when the news came out that Eddie passed away, I got the alert instantly. You know, the Wolfgang, his tweet popped up on my screen. I was sitting here ready to leave the house. The thing popped up, and I must have been one of the first people in the world to see it because how quick I saw the thing, and I was like, huh? And then basically, you know, we kind of Jay and me and other people started talking, and then 20 minutes later, we went live. And we were live the whole rest of the day here on the channel. You can see the video.
Wow.
And people from all over the world, friends of ours, popped in throughout the day, and we just talked, you know. And people told me later, they were like, Johnny, you know, thank you for being there, because it was such a I mean, it still is a shock. I mean, it's still unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you know, doing what we did that day was just it was. I mean,
I couldn't do it. I remember you sent me the invite for the show, and Jeannie was like, "Are you going to go on with those guys?" And I was like, "I don't know if I can." And you know, Simon, Johnny, I already told you this, but like usually, you know, I don't get too invested into like celebrities and all that stuff. It, you know, it doesn't really hit me that much with that stuff.
Yep.
But this like when Eddie Van Halen, like that one got me, you know, and especially when Valerie posted about it, that one got me real good. And I was like, I don't know if I can go on with those guys. Like, and usually I'm not affected that much by that stuff, but that one, that day I was like, I don't know if I can go on there, man. So I watched a lot of it. Obviously I was in the chit, but I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't go on there. You know, it was a very, very weird thing, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if I could have got on a chat just after finding out. I mean, yeah, it was pretty, that was pretty devastating news, you know, and I was actually a little bit shocked at just how deeply emotionally I was affected by it. I mean, obviously I knew I would be a little bit, but compared to any other musician, even ones that that I loved that passed away, it felt like a loss spiritually. It was very, very hard to. I know that you guys would have felt the same thing, and it got sort of worse as the week went on. You know, the first day was almost just sort of disbelief.
The shock thing, kind of
shock.
Like,
First day was shock for sure, and then as the week went on, it was strange. You know, I would be just going about doing some house chores or something, and then it would just absolutely overwhelm me. You know, and I would just have to stop and take a moment. You know, because and I've never been affected that way by a musician dying before.
Me neither.
Yeah.
More than family members. No, I'm joking. The only other I guess celebrity, if you want to call it that, was back in '98 when Walter Payton passed away. You know, football player for the Bears. Like, because it was the same type of thing. You know, when I was a kid, that was my biggest influence or hero was Walter Payton. You know, and then obviously Eddie Van Halen. But yeah, it was a very, very strange, you know, kind of whatever. But I don't know.
Yep.
Let's talk about some happy stuff here. Let's talk about Eruption.
Sure. Before we do, I'd like to shout out to Nina Ferro. We've got in the chat, who I saw has just jumped in. Nina is one of Melbourne's greatest singers, and I am very fortunate because back when we were putting together this idea for the Corner Hotel show as a I mean, this was meant to happen at the start of the year, of course, as a tribute since he had passed away. But now it's, you know, it's almost a whole year later, and it just doesn't it doesn't matter now because of the lockdowns. It'll just happen when it happens. But Nina has agreed to sing 2 songs in the second half of the show. The first half of the show, we're going to play the first album, just like in track order, like we did at the Melbourne Guitar Show. And then the second half of the show is going to be just cherry-picked great Van Halen songs of both Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth stuff. And Nina will be singing When It's Love and then finishing the whole night with Dreams. And wow. I'm lucky enough to have already heard her singing these songs on top of we found some instrumental versions of the tracks, and she put her vocal on them, and it's chilling, absolutely chilling. So yeah, I can't wait for you guys to hear that when we finally get round to it. But yeah, so Nina's in the chat. So hey, Nina.
Hey, Nina. And we all know how challenging vocally Dreams is, you know, so that's awesome.
You know, the Sammy Hagar stuff is so challenging that even females, it's like right at the top of their range too, you know, like it is really, really nuts. So, but it's good because, you know, I love hearing Nina have to get a little bit of gravel in the voice. It's pretty hot. So Eruption, it really just came about because I'd been asked by enough people to do like a transcription of it in the way that I sort of heard it in my head because they liked the way that I phrased it. And then as I sat down to do it, I realized, man, I mean, I've seen a lot of different online transcriptions, and there was one in, I think, Guitar World back in the day. You know, I can't remember who transcribed that one, but the kind of subconscious pulse of it, you know, that internal clock, that internal click, I never really got from any of the other transcriptions. I didn't really hear it that way. And so I thought, I just put the track into Pro Tools and started messing around with my click. Like, okay, so where do I feel these rhythms and these beats. Like if Eddie was playing these licks inside of one of his own songs, what would the groove be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously I just started from the very beginning. Sorry, excuse me. The very beginning of the track. I ignored the drum intro, and I thought I'll just take it from that sort of bluesy A minor stuff at the very beginning. You know, oh, there's Ned.
Hey, Ned.
Hey, Ned.
There he is.
Wow.
Hey now, Ned.
Ned looks pretty comfy there. I like that.
This is how he is all the time. When I sit here and whatever I'm doing.
Do you know what?
He's right here.
What I think is in the dictionary under happiness, there should just be a picture of Ned just like that. That's what I think. Look at that. That's happiness. So from that sort of, you know, that bit, that that opening blues lick, I thought, okay, let's just start simple. I'll just start with that and worry about the rest later. And then I guess I heard it as like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, sort of like a almost like a swing blues, you know. So I slowed it down a little bit and then put the click to that and thought, okay, that kind of works. Let's see what happens if I just let that click play at that same tempo for the next phrase. And it didn't fit perfectly, of course, because, you know, he's playing it in free time, but it was close enough. And I thought, this is, if I just move the click tempo just a fraction. So what I did, which is relatively easy to do in Pro Tools, is you just keep chopping up the audio file into where you hear the beats, and then the click will form its own tempo map, you know? And then anyway, cutting a long, boring story short, so I spent a lot of time sort of mucking around with the click at different tempos and seeing where, like, did most of Eruption fit one click, and then it would get out, and so I'd change the speed. And it turned out that there was one speed where almost all of Eruption fit exactly that tempo, and not only the licks and the rhythms themselves, but even the gaps, which was really strange to me. So like even that bit that, you know, where it goes quiet and then it starts up again, even that perfectly timed into a number of beats, which I'm sure, of course, is just a happy accident. There's no way that would have been done thinking of an exact beat. But anyway, so I sort of put it together, and then when I slowed it down, I thought, okay, well, let's see if it sounds cool, like at half speed or, you know, sort of 3/4 speed. And it turned out that not only did the click work pretty well, but it had this groove and this swing and this kind of like an old school jazz thing, like we were talking about with the So This Is Love solo. And as we know, like Eddie likes to use odd groupings of notes, which is what he calls the falling down the stairs and landing on your feet kind of thing. And so he'll often group a lick into repetitive groups of 5 or repetitive groups of 7. Like the lick at the start of Ice Cream Man is just repetitive groups of 7, which is why it sounds so awesome. Yeah. And a lot of those sort of bluesy licks with open strings, pentatonic stuff, is groups of 5. And then I realized that what was tricking me with the click is I was not taking into account Eddie's love of playing odd note groupings. So So I was assuming they'd be like 16th notes, and so there'd be 4 to a beat, or I was assuming they'd be like triplets, so there'd be 6 to a beat or 3 to a beat. But it turned out that when I clicked it so that I clicked each beat at the start of a group of 5 or a group of 7, it all just worked perfectly. And of course, we know he improvised it, so I'm not. I think it's sort of a happy accident, but I just think it's interesting that maybe subconsciously, because I know, like, if I'm doing a free time guitar solo, there's still licks that you could play in a song, you know, over a beat. And anyway, so I've got a version that if anyone wants it, and of course I'll send it to you guys. I've got my MP3s with my jazz finger snaps going.
Send me the session. I got Pro Tools, man.
I'll totally send you the session. I'll send it straight after this. You can check it out. But
I'm gonna be up late tonight, Jeannie.
Yeah. Literally.
So, but it turned out that that when you hear it slower, it's obviously at full speed. it's hard to get the ear around at first because it's pretty frantic. It's actually, he gets up to about 320 beats a minute, which is way faster than even most bebop Charlie Parker stuff. But slow, it has this swagger and this swing to it. And that's the other amazing thing about Ed, is that when you slow down his solos, they swing even at half speed. And that's, if you slow down one of my solos at half speed, it's too slow to feel any swing. But his sense of rhythm was so strong, and that's why we always talk about his rhythm guitar playing, that even at half speed, his solos have got groove and pocket and swing to them. And I just think that's part of his genius, But so anyway, I ended up doing the transcription to that click. And then what I did at the Melbourne Guitar Show, while I'm playing Eruption, I'm actually thinking of the beat in my head. And I think that really helped me phrase some of the licks that when I was younger, I used to think were just sort of these crazy free time things. And once I started practicing them with a click, it sort of crystallized the whole thing. It solidified it into it. It made it feel more cohesive, And look, it might not be for everyone. It could just be sort of the way that I hear it, and that's fine, of course. But look, for anyone that wants it, I'm happy to send it to them. And like I was saying at the start of the show, I'll do a series of little YouTube tutorials or something where I explain it a bit better than here. But yeah, it's anyone's welcome to it. Of course, I'll send it to you guys after.
Nice. Looking forward to hearing that, especially. I mean,
yeah, and of course please let me know what you think of it when you hear it with the way that I've clicked it, because I'll be very curious.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, it might be cool, Johnny, to hear it a different way than what we've been hearing it for, X amount of years since we were kids.
Yeah.
So that might be a kind of a cool experience. And you mentioned, Simon, about when you slowed it down, you kind of hear that groove and that swing that he had.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Last month I was learning the intro to I'm the One. And it obviously, there's no way I'm learning that thing full speed. You got to slow the hell out of it. And it was the same type of thing. Once I was like, damn, that thing, listen to that groove. Like, you slow it down, you're like, holy cow. It was like almost more impressive at a slightly slower tempo. I was like, that thing, man.
Actually, I couldn't have said it better than that. Eddie Van Halen is one of the very few guitarists that I've ever slowed down. And before Pro Tools, when I was a kid, I used to have this old little open reel player. So I would
reel to reel, the reel to reel, the top reel. Yeah.
And I used to dub stuff into it, and then I had two different speeds that I could slow it down. So I could slow it down half speed or quarter speed, which of course puts it down 2 octaves. So it just becomes kind of mush. But for some things, for my young ears, I needed it that slow to hear really what was going on. But Eddie was one of the only guitarists, even when I was a teenager, that I used to slow down to learn the licks, where it sounded more impressive slow. Usually when you slow someone's, crazy fast licks down, it just sounds like the crazy fast lick slower. And sometimes you even hear the sloppiness in it a little bit slow, You hear where the pick dip match with the left hand, yeah. But with Eddie, man, I was like, how can it sound that good at half speed? I just could never understand it, Yeah. But I think I remember reading in an interview with Ed in Guitar World or something one day that that really he thought of his licks as, just because he grew up when he was super young, copying so much Clapton and stuff, that all his crazy licks were like Clapton but sped up double speed. And it's funny because I used to have a guitar student years ago who all he wanted me to do was sit there and transcribe live Clapton solos in front of him, and because he was just a Clapton nut. And I remember doing it and sometimes going, oh wow, that's kind of like that weird blues Eddie Van Halen lick, just way slower.
Wow.
And so I could see some of those things. Obviously Eddie was influenced in way more than just Clapton, but I could see what he meant, by transcribing Clapton. But yeah, he's impressive even at half speed. And you'll hear, what I'll send you is Eruption at 3/4 speed, which is cool because it sounds like drop D. So that first chord, which is normally an A, is actually like a drop D on the guitar. So it sounds kind of tougher, actually, I'll send you that with the click, and then I've also got it at full half speed. And of course, I'll send you the PDF of the transcription with the tab as well. Because,
oh my God.
I mean, I guess people have seen enough transcriptions and people sort of know how the fingering and the tab is, but my one is transcribed to the click that I did. So if that makes sense. So the transcription matches what I did with the audio, but yeah. But anyway, look, it was fascinating, and it really, really helped me play it consistently the same every time, because what I wanted was I wanted to try and eliminate the guesswork, and because it's sort of a free time thing, I just thought, well, then each time I play this lick, like how fast exactly am I playing it, and where does it come in exactly? And I just thought to myself, look, I should learn it in a way where I can repeat it every time, because if I'm going to get up at the Melbourne Guitar Show and play Eruption in front of people, I definitely wanted it to sound as close to Eruption as possible, because you know what those crowds are like. So
you got the guitar snobs in the crowd. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you hear that? That one note. I've been there. I've done that myself. I'm not going to say I haven't, but you know,
Dude, I saw the video, man, and you had to throw in notes to show that you weren't playing to a tape. You know,
Yeah.
that wasn't just a recording.
Well, it's funny because at the time, Dave, our singer, he had that whistle thing that David Lee Roth used to use on.
I saw the video of that. I saw that. Yeah.
And so just when I was trying to get in, my zone to play Eruption, and really, as you would imagine, all I wanted to do is get through Eruption and then have fun for the rest of the songs, But anyway, so he blew the whistle just as I was starting, and me and Jerry hit the first chord, and then he goes, "Woo!" And you can see me turn around and laugh at him, but really in my head I was like, "Dude, don't mess with me now," But
you had to like get into a certain mental mind state of like, and the next thing you know, somebody's
No, that's right. And then I've got him in my face blowing the whistle, So, but actually, I think. Look, if you believe that things happen for a reason, I actually think he did me a big favor, because it disarmed me. All that concentration of like how serious and how perfect it had to be in front of this guitar crowd, it brought me back down to, oh, that's right, we're actually just having fun here, So I think that kind of did something mentally where it sort of set me up to just roll with it and play it
just play instead of thinking too much about it.
Yeah, instead of taking it too seriously, it sort of relaxed me and all of that. So anyway, that was. So I thank him for it in the end. But I remember at the time going, "Dude,
you son of a."
Yeah. But of course, Jay, I'll send you all that stuff. No problem.
Dude, I wish I had something to send you, man.
No, it's all good. All good.
Trading Pro Tool sessions and stuff, man.
Perfect. Well, yeah. Do once you've had a look at it, let me know what you think.
Oh, I will, and I think I know just the guitar to
that is just the guitar. Beautiful.
I don't have the original one, but the white and black. So we see some guitars on your wall back there. I'm assuming you have one kind of near you. Would that be correct to assume?
Yeah.
Which one? Which is the closest guitar to you right now?
Oh, you can't see them. They'd be off screen. They're sitting on a couch, just that way.
Well, grab the closest guitar.
Well,
he's wearing pants. I knew it.
Oh no! You know what would have been funny is if I wasn't wearing pants, but what?
Yes. Yeah, it's just a sock.
Now I wish I had no jeans on, because that would have been way funnier.
Oh,
awesome. So I've got this trusty old Maton, which is one that Tommy Emmanuel gave me back in 1996, and has been that was one that they built for him. It's called an 808 model, so it's a slightly smaller body, but it's got a really good mid-range to it, so it pokes really good live. So there's that guy.
Nice.
What we'll do is, Johnny, we'll put the blur effect on Simon every time he gets up to make it seem like not wearing pants.
Hey, there's still time. I could still take the jeans off. No problem.
See, that's the guitar I was waiting to see. That's the one right there.
So that's the guy I used on the Melbourne Guitar Show. Although since the guitar show, I had my guitar tech guy Joe replace the scratch plate, and so it did originally have the original scratch plate with the single coil pickups in it, and actually. So this isn't really like a very accurate Van Halen guitar replica. Like it's got the Floyd with you can pull it back as well. And actually at the time it was just an off-the-shelf Fender Strat player series with the Floyd and the humbucker. And I did the show just with the pickups that came with it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So
like we say, it's the hands.
Yeah, I mean, I really have to say as well, though, that Top Jimmy, who has that Kemper pack called the Brown Sound, that he really put a lot of time into using, finding a really old late 60s plexi, a vintage quad with greenbacks. He used the 10-band EQ going into it, and he used a Variac as well. So he really went to all the trouble and made those profiles for the Kemper sound as good and as accurate as they possibly could be. And so, I mean, that's a big part of it for sure. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So Jay, do you have those sounds? Do you have that pack?
I do not.
Oh man, that pack. Well, what you heard on the video is that pack just direct out of the Kemper. He did a truly amazing job of capturing that sound accurately. Even down to where he used the 10-band EQ going in the front, and he used the Variac as well, late 60s plexi and greenbacks. So he really went to town on, and I think that all of those little things that he did that he would be easy to skip over, I think are a big part of how accurate he got that sound, Yeah,
I've heard really good things about his profiles, but
they're really good.
I haven't purchased any.
They're really good. He actually has in his possession at the moment Paul Gilbert's 50-watt Marshall that he used on the Racer X records, and he's doing a Racer X pack. Which yeah.
So is it? Did Paul loan him the amp, or is it an amp that Paul maybe sold and then this guy got a hold of it?
What happened was it got stolen out of the back of Paul's car, I believe, like one night, and so Paul never got it back. And of course, it's since done the rounds. I guess whoever stole it sold it to somebody, and but because it was unique looking, like it had some strange kind of like scratches on it, and Paul had written his name. I guess he was probably only 19 or 20 at the time, but he wrote his name on the inside of it. And there was a sticker on the head as well. It still has all that stuff. It's still got his name on the inside and the sticker and the scratches. And anyway, it came into his possession, and and he contacted Paul and let him know that he had it. And apparently Paul said, "That's cool, man. Just keep it. As long as I know that it's with you. And I guess if you ever sell it, let me know first. But up until then, if you want to hang on to it, so he's got it."
Wow.
Pretty cool, yeah.
That is pretty cool. Holy
because
cow.
that 50-watt Marshall dime sounds so good on those records. I mean, it is like, for me, that's one of the great shred sounds of the 80s,
Man, the fact that he didn't say, "Where are you and where is it?"
Yeah, look. Yeah, I'm surprised too. I think that I'm surprised he wouldn't. Yeah, I'm surprised he wouldn't want it back. But I guess as long as he feels like he knows where it is and he's getting good use out of it, So, but yeah, so Top Jimmy, yeah, he does really great profiles. But that Brown Sound pack of his is pretty ridiculous, and that's what I used on the show, And it was. Sorry, go on.
Did Top Jimmy just come out, or not? Maybe not just come out, but I don't know if it was Top Jimmy or some other company. I think pretty recently just came out with a bunch of George Lynch profiles, or am I wrong? Maybe it's somebody else. Could be somebody else. Like through his basically his career, like whatever amp he used on the dock and stuff throughout and through the Lynch Mob earlier Lynch Mob stuff, like the first two.
I could double check that for you because I'm pretty sure that you're right, and that it is Top Jimmy. I think he's mentioned that in an email to me. So, but I could check that. Yeah, but he does. He takes a lot of time and does it very accurately, and makes sure that before he, puts the pack on his website, that it really sounds very, very good. And look, even though I love the Kemper for what it can do, I was definitely hesitant to use it for the Melbourne Guitar Show because, well, for one thing, I knew that everyone would go, "Oh, he's using a Kemper," and for another thing, I thought for myself that the sounds just will not be authentic enough. But when I got that pack and started messing with it in my studio, I was like, wow, this sounds pretty close, So, and like I said, and that's the sound on that video is the Kemper with that pack, but the guitar I used, I didn't have any custom pickups or anything. That was just an off-the-shelf Fender Player Series, and all I did was put the black tape on it.
What pickup is what bridge pickup was in that Fender? Just a stock whatever.
Yeah, just the one that came with it. I don't know how much they sell them for retail in the States, but here they were on the shelf for about $1,200. So I'm guessing for you guys it would probably be about $800 or $900 on the shelf.
Yeah, so it wasn't any special pickup in there. It was just some.
No, it'll just be whatever the Fender's run-of-the-mill humbucker that they stick in it, I guess. So,
and the pickup that most guitar players, maybe not most, but would probably swap out.
Yeah, and look, I would too. And now it is swapped out. Now I've got a Pariah in there, right? So
which Pariah do you have in there? The black or the white?
Pasadena black.
The black. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And it's very, very cool. Very cool. In fact, I'm sure you guys saw Pete Thorne's EVH humbucker shootout. It was sort of on the basis of that I decided that to my ears, the Pasadena black really sounded like, look, there's a lot of great pickups in there. That was the one that I really, when he was playing with that one, I thought that's the sound, and it sort of edged out some of the others. I like the Pasadena white too, which is lower output. It's probably more like maybe the Van Halen 2 and Women and Children first era kind of style of sound. But I like the slightly higher output because when I use it into the Sir, I don't want to use any extra distortion artificially if I don't have to, because Eddie didn't. So what I do want definitely is the higher output pickup to push the amp a little bit more. So that's why the black for me. The other thing that I've done, Jay, is I made a Pro Tools session out of.
You sent it to me.
Oh, great. Okay, so you got that. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. I my lazy butt, I haven't put it into Pro Tools yet. But
no, all good,
dude. Just the fact that you said you put after you analyzing it, you put the black in your guitar. I'm thinking maybe I should do that. Let's copy off of you. What else you got over there?
So what do you currently stand up? So what do you currently have in there?
It's the stock Wolfgang.
Oh, the Wolfgang
Mexican wound pickup. Yeah.
Okay. Look, I believe that's still pretty good, and I think that
it is. Yep.
I think that the output is pretty similar to the Pasadena Black, which is about 14K. Is that right? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Wolfgang is slightly higher output. So I think it is closer to the Pasadena Black than the Pasadena White. So if you're used to the sound of that and you like it, I would go the black.
It's all right.
Yeah.
But I do know because I have a Japanese Wolfgang that has the USA wound Wolfgang pickups in it. And in my opinion, the USA wound Wolfgangs sound better than the Mexican wound Wolfgangs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've also got I got the Seymour Duncan 78 in a guitar, and I've got the Seymour Duncan Frankie in a guitar, and the Pariah eats them.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's like half the price too, isn't it?
Yeah, and absolutely, and half the price. And I just think, like, man, Sean's ear, whatever he's doing in that shop, he's just really listening to what's going on when I guess he does his prototypes, and he's just doing such a great job, because, I mean, as we know, those Seymour pickups are supposed to be as authentic as Eddie ordered them,
Yeah.
So, So there you have it. But yeah, but in the incarnation of the guitar I used on the Melbourne Guitar Show, the only thing that I'd done to that guitar since buying it was put the black tape on it. So it was and the reason for that is because at the time, as I was preparing for the show, I had some guitar students, and you know, young guitarists are always like, yeah, well, of course that sounds good because you know you've got a $4,000 guitar and I've only got a $800 guitar, and so I thought it might be a fun opportunity to show some of my students that it's really just more about, it's more about how much you practice, and it's totally not about the limitation of what you can afford, because a lot of people use that as, especially teenagers, they'll use that as an excuse for not sounding good. And I know because I grew up playing a $150 classical guitar for 6 years that you can make music on it. It's like going back to when we were talking about Eddie. He could pick up anything, but also I think it ticks the box of the previous conversation where we were saying it's all about the amp. Well, there you go. I mean, because the guitar I used was just $800 Fender with stock pickups, but the Kemper sound profiles were so good that it just became all about that,
Yeah, I remember saying that exact same thing. Oh, well, I have this guitar, and trying to get my parents to buy me a better guitar. I remember those days. Oh, but he has this. I have this, $100 Harmony guitar that doesn't stay in tune if you fart on it.
Well, you're right though. It never stopped me asking my parents for a better guitar. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think though that the guitars these days are built, even the ones under $1,000, they're built really well compared to like the 80s and the 90s. You couldn't really get, in the 80s and the 90s, if you bought a guitar for $700, it didn't play very well, but they're pretty good now.
Oh, yeah. They're excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And that was really, like I said, that was just something that I wanted to show a lot of my guitar students at the time, is that it's don't let the limitations of your budget fool you into that you can't make music with it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You all right, Jay?
I'm good. I hear my my wife down there making some racket. I'm wondering what's going on. What's going on down there?
But yeah, I mean, to just button up that conversation, it's interesting because you see people online go down the rabbit hole quite often about like the tiniest nuances of different pickups, or
every day.
I mean, what brand of strings even. And it's just all of that stuff is fun to talk about and discuss and throw around. But it really is like you're talking about differences of sound that most people will just never hear.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And I think
they claim they can hear it, and they'll fight you
if
you hear it a different way.
It's funny. I was listening to Dave Friedman talk about that when he gets someone come into his factory to AB different amps. He insists that they do like a proper sort of blindfold test where he's got like an AB amp switcher, and he doesn't tell them which one is which. And he says that more often than not, the one that they think they're going to like more, they don't like more. It's just, and I think that's how you should do everything. That's actually the reason why I put Pete Thorne's video into Pro Tools, because in the video, it was too hard for me to instantly skip from one pickup to another, and I really wanted to be able to quickly just go, okay, that's that one now. What's this one? So what I did is I compiled it into all where he's playing the same riff. So let's say he's playing Running with the Devil. So I've got all the pickups lined up simultaneously when he's playing Running with the Devil, so I can just quickly flip. And then what I would do is I scramble the order of the tracks in Pro Tools so that I can't remember which number track is what. And then I'll blindfold test myself and go through with my eyes closed, just soloing tracks on the desk. And that was how I kept coming up with the Pariah, because every time I'd scramble the order of the tracks, there'd be this one particular one. I go, there's just some X factor about the sound of that pickup, and about 9 times out of 10, it was one of the Pariahs. So
wow, man.
And then so that was how I came to that decision. But you know, I mean, they're all really close, and like we're talking about, you're splitting hairs. Truthfully, you're splitting hairs, but sometimes it's fun to split hairs. You know, if you got a spare day, why not? You know.
Yeah.
And also, sorry, I was just going to say, and also, I really love the idea of buying a product from someone that's hand building stuff as opposed to a big company. Like, I'd much rather support a smaller boutique company like Pariah, you know?
No, I definitely hear you on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might contact them, and I'll tell them that you suggested, heavily suggested, or you know, the Pariah Black. So,
oh man, it's killer. You will be very happy.
I just got to find somebody to put it in.
Yep.
I don't even have a soldering iron, so.
No, I don't. I don't put in my own pickups either. I've got a great guy here in Melbourne that I use that does all that stuff for me. So yeah, I make a mess with a soldering iron. That's for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
I'd get a new pickup and it would just be sitting here. You put that pickup in yet, Jay? No, dude, you got it a year ago. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, the guy I use as a guitar tech, he lives like about an hour and 10 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things, like, you know, I have to drive out there to drop the guitar off and then schedule another day to go back and get it. You know, it's not the easiest thing, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I'm not good at it either. That's for sure.
Uh-oh.
What?
I see somebody's getting
the band hammer's coming
the
down.
band hammer of justice. Speaking of the hammer of justice, how about this, huh? Yeah. I know Johnny loves it.
Oh, cool.
Did you make that?
Oh yeah. Ellie made it in school today, you know. Oh man. Anyway, this was a great show. Usually I say this to Johnny after we're off the air. I just got to say it. This was one of the most fun ones for me, man. Just because of like I said before, just the passion, and I could see it in Simon and Johnny's faces, just like, you know, kind of on the same page and feeling the same things together. Yeah. You know.
No, you're right. It is what you were saying before about how even, you know, that we're older and all these decades later after Van Halen began, that we still talk about it with such passion. I mean, if you think of all the forums around the world that now have shows dedicated to discussing the life of Eddie Van Halen and his contribution to music, has that happened with any other guitarist that's died to this level? I don't think so.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about Eddie.
Exactly.
Thank you. Keith Campbell says, outstanding show and even included Guitar Geek stuff. See, that's another thing that Simon brought to the table. You know?
Oh, you know, you've got to geek out, of course, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Keith.
Very cool.
Keith.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to do something. I'm getting a text message saying great show. Kurt, thank you. We got to do something, figure out a time or a day or something to get you, Cameron, Caleb from Nerd Halen.
Oh yeah, gotta get Caleb.
Yeah, I think that would be a super cool show.
Too. Yeah, I really do too. Let's figure out a time zone that'll work for. I mean, obviously you guys and us, and then Cameron's in Scotland, so yeah, we'll have to. That could be tricky because we're really covering like the 3 corners of the world, you know. But we can do it. We'll figure out a time that'll work. So I think that'll be a fun show.
We're going global. Finally.
Right. That's right. No, that'd be great. Let's definitely try and organize that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Johnny, you got anything else?
This, I mean, I guess this is it.
Oh, where's the tears?
Well, no, because there's always next time, and I'm starting to feel real bad for you because I know it's.
Well, no, don't feel bad for me because Jeannie put the kids to bed, a couple hours ago. So it's not like I'm waiting to, it's not like she's down there. Where the hell is he? I gotta put these, I'm glad I have a very cool wife. I'll say that,
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
To bin and in. Okay, let's
man.
do this. Let's do
Bin and in,
this.
yeah.
What was your favorite Men at Work song to play, Simon?
Overkill. Well, we used to open those shows with Touching the Untouchables, actually, but that was more of an album track, of course. But it was still fun to open with. But in the end, I used to try and convince Colin to open the show with Overkill because it's got those accents, and you can tell the crowd have already been waiting for a couple of hours. Hit them with something that they just will get their juices flowing so that you can kind of cruise through the next half hour of the show, So actually, Overkill was a great song to play, but it was a good song to open with as well. But man, playing Down Under in Brazil in front of Brazilians, kicking soccer balls around, in the stadium was always pretty fun as well. And It's a Mistake. Lots of great songs.
That's another great song.
It's a Mistake is a killer song. It's got just got some heart to it, But they were really fun playing those hits. That's for sure. Yeah,
that's great, man. Yeah, great band, man.
Yeah, good stuff.
Great band.
Yeah, I was. That was just one of those really lucky things because my parents had Men at Work records, when I was a kid, and so I used to just play all the stuff that they had in their collection, and they were among it. And then I guess I was about, I think I was 20, and then I got asked to audition because Colin and Greg were putting Men at Work back together, but without the original members. So they were obviously looking for a guitarist, and someone put my name in the bowl, and we had a jam, and that was it. And then I ended up going to my first big tour was I was 20 and went to Brazil for 5 weeks with them, which was, we had a good time. It was good.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
And wonderful guys. And Colin has actually lived in LA since the late 80s and lives in Topanga. And, we're obviously still friends. And so a lot of the time that I've spent in LA has actually been sort of bunking in with him for, a few weeks or a month at a time. But I mean, Colin's solo career even since is just wonderful. And he just writes such an amazing songwriter. So, incredible musician.
Yeah.
Well, this wouldn't be a Van Halen show. We can't let you go without asking.
Yeah.
Favorite Van Halen guitar?
That Eddie played?
Yes.
Well, look, for me, only because I was so young and impressionable when I first saw Live Without a Net, I think that for me, out of all the different guitars and incarnations and color schemes, and it's the 5150 guitar on Live Without a Net.
Answer? No, go.
And
all three of us, man.
You guys too, right?
That's the one, man. That's the one.
Well,
that's it.
I'm fortunate enough to have Neil Daly building me a 5150 replica for my upcoming Van Halen show here in Melbourne. So, I'm so excited about that. I cannot wait. There it is. Yeah.
In its infancy. Well, you got the stickers on there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, that guitar is just stripped down and so pure. It's almost like Eddie had distilled all the things that he had tinkered with over the years, right? And just said, this is the thing. It's basically a kind of a Strat body with one humbucker, the proper Floyd that had gone through all its sort of stages of development now. Yeah. And maple neck and fretboard, and I just think that it was distilled down to its purest form of what Eddie was, which was, only the important things, just humbucker at the bridge, Floyd Rose, great tone woods, and his playing, and that's it. And I think for me, it was the simplicity of that guitar, and also I definitely always thought it was beautiful. You know, I think it's a great guitar to look at. Yeah, no brainer for me. And of course, all that incredible playing you did on the Live Without a Net video on that guitar, I think that probably didn't hurt either. You know?
That's probably the reason as well. But
yeah.
Before Johnny chimes in, I just want to say, like, when you watch, watching all the Van Halen videos and live stuff, and even after the 5150 guitar, when he went, the Music Man and stuff, I just feel like when you watch Live Without a Net and the bootlegs on that 5150 tour and stuff,
yeah,
he just had some connection with that 5150 guitar that I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I think he had a connection with that guitar that he didn't have with any other guitar ever.
Look,
and you can almost see it in his face, like during some of those solos, and the guitar solo on on Live Without a Net. He's just looking at that thing like, yep, I know, like everything I do, everything I want to do to this guitar on this guitar, it does it. He's not struggling, he's not fighting it. It's just he had some connection with that guitar.
100% agree. I think there's a synergy with that guitar that you can feel subconsciously. And I just think that is, of all the different guitars he played, either before then or after then, it just felt like the perfect marriage to me of Eddie and instrument. And you're right, like that 10-minute Live Without a Net solo, I mean, it looks like he's so in sync. It's so effortless. And he's just there making music, Yep. Look, even in the first song, they come out doing Only One Way to Rock.
Oh.
Every single one of those little fills he does in between Sammy's vocals is a masterclass in modern blues soloing, And to this day, I still try and sneak some of those little fill licks into, like if I'm jamming with people or doing a gig and it's a blues, I'll try and sneak those licks in, because to me, they're just like the most gorgeous blues licks. But the way that they just come out of that guitar, you can see it. You're right, Jay, on his face even. It looks like it's complete flow.
The guitar is a part of him. Yeah, the guitar is a part of him. That's how it feels.
There it is. Yep.
Right.
Oh, man. And that moment, where Sammy reintroduces him and he sits down on the riser and lights the cigarette and then blows the smoke rings, and
it would have been like that. Would have been similar to that part.
That's exactly right, Johnny. Yeah, and then sits and then plays what became 316, but at that time was just an idea. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful little sort of major blues melodies that you can hear, and he plays it with such passion and feel. And then, of course, he stands up and then does all the crazy stuff, but it still has passion and feel. It doesn't feel like shredding for shredding's sake at all. And you know what? Even as a 13-year-old, it didn't feel like it was that. It just felt like, honestly, it felt like I was watching Mozart or something, That's how I imagine it would have been to see those guys back in the 1700s. Would have been like watching Eddie Van Halen play,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he was our generation's Mozart, definitely.
I think so too. Yeah, I really do. For all we know, he was either Mozart or Beethoven reincarnated. Who knows? So
I think it was both. He was a combination. He was a combination, dude. We'll never see that again.
Yep, I agree. I really agree.
5150 brings up a good point about the 5150 guitar.
What's that?
He says he didn't change the pickup, neck, or bridge really since he started playing that guitar, from when he started playing it till he ratired it.
Yep. Well, there you go. Whereas with every other guitar, he tinkered with it, didn't he? Constantly, sort of, as it evolved. And that's why I think we all subconsciously feel like that was really the perfection of his idea of a modified Strat since the 1977 or whenever,
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got it to where it could go. That's why the Wolfgang guitar was an evolution and something completely different, really. But I think in terms of that style of guitar with there it is.
I used to stare at that picture for God.
That exact one.
Yeah, in the magazine.
Yeah. Whew.
This is it.
It almost gives you chills just looking at it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you guys have that feeling?
It's gotta be our age and stuff like that, because Santa Cruz says before you guys like the 5150 because you're what do you say? You guys are babies, or you guys are kids, or something like that. You know. So I understand that. You know, it's and like you said, it's the live on the net video that we just watched obsessively.
Yeah.
For years, and I still watch it. You know, I'm trying to get my kids to like, yeah, yes,
But isn't it also true that, like, let's just take the music completely out of it. Like, if you were watching that video and the sound was off, have you ever seen four guys have as much fun as that on a stage?
No.
I mean, they look like they're 13-year-olds with bowls of lollies and candies, It's just, it's the energy that comes out of the screen. I mean, it's just exploding off the screen, from the very first downbeat till they finish the show and they're goofing off doing the walk and everything. You just go, man, that's the essence of rock and roll to me, is that much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to go watch it now.
Actually, it makes me want to crank it up now too, and I might just do that.
We should do one of those. What is it, Johnny? The Facebook watch parties or something, right? Didn't John BL talk about doing one of those?
Like a react? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like we all watch something at the same time.
We watch together. We all watch the same thing and hang out. And did Facebook take those away?
I'll tell you what. If you guys consider doing a live without a net watching party, count me in. That would be awesome. Maybe that's what we should do with Caleb and Cameron. That would be cool.
Yeah. Cameron's got a funny story. He said when he was younger, it was late or something like that, and because he used to watch live on the net like every day, before bed, after school, all this stuff. And he said his dad heard live on the net on in his bedroom late one night.
Right.
And he was like, come on, so he went up there to tell him, they're like, hey, turn it off and go to bed. He opened the door and it was Cameron playing the Eruption, the solo.
Oh, God.
And he was just like, holy crap.
Wow.
That's got to be a pretty cool thing, because his father plays guitar too. So that's got to be a pretty cool thing. You got your son playing, and next thing you know, you think it's Eddie Van Halen up there playing the solo from Live Without a Net, and you open the door, tell him to turn it off, and it's your son. Man, that had to be some cool moment,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Man. All right. I think this is a good time. Look at this. We've gone almost just under 3 hours.
Perfect.
This is a great one, guys. This was a great one.
Oh, yeah, it's been amazing.
Thank you so much, fellas, for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Anytime, man. Anytime, and definitely let's do something with everybody. You and Caleb and Cameron and
that'd be really great.
Plug your socials before we cut you off.
Who, me? I'm pretty much just under my own name on both Facebook and Insta and YouTube. So if you just go on Facebook and look up Simon Hosford, you'll see me come up straight away, and the same with Insta and YouTube. So yeah, it's pretty simple.
Awesome. I've got your Facebook and I think your Instagram in the description already.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Do I follow you on Instagram? I know we're friends on Facebook.
I think we're friends on Insta too, but I'll have to double check.
Let me see. Oh, it would be a scandal if we're not friends on Instagram, right?
Sure.
I just searched for Instagram on Instagram. Simon Hosford. There we go. Yeah, I follow you. Okay. Let me make sure you follow me.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Wow. I couldn't remember. I was starting to sweat there for a second. Yeah. Very good. Beautiful.
Man. All right. Well, hey.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Jay. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Dude. Anytime. And let's wrap this up. We can say goodbye. Boner Gems.
There's Boner Gems.
Oh.
Great show, boys. Have a great weekend. Your OnlyFans page has been on point lately. Jay, that's
You know what? It's not OnlyFans though. It's Bonely fans.
Only fans.
Get that straight, will you? That's why you're a member.
Are you feeling bonely?
Are you only
Tonight? Oh, it's too funny. Don't hang up yet, Simon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Thank you so much, channel members. We love you all. And actually, I'm going to redo these screens because they're very it's very weird.
Thank you, Tim Henwood.
Thank you, everybody, for watching us tonight. Follow Simon on everywhere: Instagram,
Bonely fans.
YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. And what else do we do here? We'll be back tomorrow night with another show, Saturday night, with your host John BL. Where is he at? I got to redo these things. Anyway, John BL.
Where is he? Where's John BL?
I can't find him. They made it. They made it so. I mean, the only picture I can find is this one. And
Oh my God. I've never seen that one before.
that's a new Cobra Kai original.
Oh, Cobra Kai. That's so good. That is so good.
Tuesdays, right here on Johnny Beane TV. There you go. There, I'll do that one because I can't find the other one. I know I have it. It's somewhere here, but anyway, tomorrow night, the Bean Bunch. There they are. Saturday night. Join us tomorrow night. Roughly. Oh, actually, this time tomorrow night in exactly 24 hours.
Oh, snap.
In exactly 24 hours. Come back. Come. Oh, here it is. I found it. There it is. John BL.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you all. And I'll be on Twitch a little later tonight. So
Woohoo!
join me for some GTA. All right. Simon.
Hey, thanks, Tone Revival. So for anyone that doesn't know, Tone Revival Engineering is Warwick Newman, who is the local Melbourne genius that mods all my Marshalls. So
Oh, cool.
he's the wizard behind the sound. So yeah, thanks, Wazza.
Awesome. So he's gonna have a word with you for using that Kemper, huh?
No,
I'm joking.
He's busy at work making sure that the real amps for the next show are all in fighting order. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. We're out of here. Love you all.
Everybody.
See you guys tomorrow night.
Ciao.
Johnny Beane TV.